the scientist.
Suffice it that the blood of 1,000 men and women was spilled in these walls. Limbs twisted and broken. Eyes gouged from bloody sockets. Flesh burned black.
Please. You're with the dead. In death, there are no accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no saves. What you have to realize is that we're all just a mouse that a cat has by the tail.
The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
What's up, guys?
Welcome.
to the world of the unexplained. This
Your
is
mic's
host.
not on.
Your mic's not on,
Mic's
Scott.
not on.
How about welcome guys, to the world of the unexplained. This is your host.
Is my mic on now?
Yeah,
okay, here we
yeah.
go. Hi, guys.
That's a good way to start a show, too.
It
It's
is.
like, welcome. There he is.
This is one of your hosts, Jay Scott. You're only JD DJ on the Planet Paranormal Network, and I'm here tonight with Doug Seemick from Ghostly Talk. How you doing, Doug?
Hey, so far so good. I'm having a great time here at the Haunted Bed and Breakfast here. It's awesome.
TheTwinLakesLodge.com.
TheTwinLakesLodge.com.
Be sure to put the in front of it. The
Twin Lakes.
Twin Lakes Lodge.com. I'm stumbling.
There's
now.
only one lake though. That bugs me, but
Oh, they filled the other one
they
in?
filled the other one in. But
Okay.
they kept the name of the lodge.
Well,
so
it's catchier than the one lake and the other
The
lake.
Lake Lodge.
And, you know, it doesn't really fit on cards or brochures as well.
We're also here with
the
Trent
one
Lackey.
lake and the other lake is filled in lodge.
Trent, say hey.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And we're also here with John Zaffis, the John Zaffis.
John Zaffis.
If you guys don't know who John Zaffis is, well, you've probably been under a rock for the
Yeah.
last 34 years, but that's okay.
They must have never listened to,
Or watched
Ghostly
TV.
Talk or World of the
Unexplained,
Unexplained or watched any
Coast to
TV.
coast, any of this. So if you're listening now and you've come to us from WWNC out of the Asheville area, thank you for tuning in. If you're listening to us from Joshua P. Warren, Speaking of Strange show, we appreciate you. And we will take calls later tonight, all through the night actually, at 877-SCARE-U2. That's 877-SCARE-U2. Remember, this is conservative paranormal talk. And we've got Chuck Browder, the producer, in the house. Give it up, Chuck. What's up? We've also got Psychic, or Intuitive, whichever she prefers. What's her name? Noel?
Intuitive. Noel.
Noel, I don't know what her last name is.
Noel, I've forgotten to.
Oh,
There we go.
you know what?
Okay, and we're
Wow,
staying.
that's embarrassing.
We're leaving that.
We're also here with
She'll
Dr.
introduce
Al
herself.
Proffit, who has investigated this place before. And tonight we're going to be doing a continuing investigation into the Twin Lakes Lodge.
That's right.
Weird stuff.
That's right. Second part G
Part deux.
of our little mini conference / ghost investigation / electronic media extravaganza that's been going on all weekend. It's a lot of fun.
That's right. So anyway, we're going to tell you a little bit about some of the stuff that went on earlier tonight in case you didn't catch our on-air interview with Josh. And it's basically what happened last night if you didn't catch that either. What had happened was last night when we first started doing the show, we had some really strange things happen.
Yes.
Why don't you
very-
tell them about some of it, Trent?
Well, anyway, I'm sitting beside the board as I was last night, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw things on the board actually move, and then Chuck saw them more directly, and he was going, "Hey,
Wait, you saw it too?
yeah."
Really?
Well, I mean, I saw it. I saw the movement
Peripheral.
through the peripheral.
Wow.
Peripheral.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Anyway, but
Whatever.
it was really crazy, and then Chuck's like, "Oh my gosh, did you see that?" And it's like,
And then
What?
John
And
John
then-
Zaffis and I were sitting on the couch in the love seat. Anyway, so we were sitting on the couch together, and
It's turned into a completely different weekend. Yeah.
listening to
conservative, huh? No, anyway.
We're
So,
listening to Muskrat Love.
yes, and I looked in his eyes, and so anyway, I was sitting beside John on the couch, and immediately we both looked at each other because we heard something in the background, and we noticed that the VCR behind us had turned itself on automatically.
Right,
And
directly
it was-
behind me while I was trying to
Little
talk.
does he know, I know he was trying to turn on one of those sex porn.
well, it's Scott.
Don't give away my secrets, John. I mentioned that to you in private.
It's a totally different business. Anyway,
but nobody had the remote in their hands.
No.
For
Yeah,
that.
the remote was actually on top of the TV,
it
which
wasn't
was not
pre-recorded, to record
it wasn't
a show.
yeah, and it
at a
wasn't
certain
within
time.
anyone's reach either. I mean, it was right behind us. It was very, very
really,
creepy.
really bizarre. And that's just around the time when Al Proffit was talking about the other weird electronic things, that were happening, and then almost on cue like that, and these things were going on.
And we're going to bring Al on a little later tonight
That's
to
right.
discuss the history of this place again. And we're going to bring John back if he wants to talk some more about this and just kind of get some ideas of how the investigation is going thus far. Did you capture any EVPs yet, Doug?
I have analyzed only a portion of my recordings from last night, and there were a couple places where I zoom, I made it louder so that I could hear again. So far inconclusive. I've discounted the things that I had heard. But then not in the middle, but more toward the beginning of my analysis, I sort of dozed off a little bit. So
I see.
I was unable to finish my analysis of the recording from last night. I did, however, I do have my camera here for tonight, my video camera, and I have my laptop / condenser microphone combination.
That's a really nice piece of equipment,
it
too.
is.
It's really nice.
I dig it. And what's interesting is, and I should have you hear that when we go on a break or when we go to when we do our investigation or something, we'll try and get together. I'll have you listen to the quality of the condenser microphone solution and how crystal clear it is. If a ghost has something to say, if I were a ghost and I wanted to say something, I would go looking for a condenser microphone. And no, I do not work for a condenser microphone company.
He works for Samson. No. Now, the question I have, Doug, you've been collecting EVPs for quite some time now.
I have very few of them to show for it too. I'm not. I think I wasn't good at it because I was unsure that I was using the right stuff or that I had the right outlook, whatever it was. But now I took this rig to Gettysburg for my personal vacation, right? And of course, my personal vacation is spent ghost hunting. How's that? Yeah. And so I took it to Gettysburg, and I just right off the bat, very first night I tried it, my good friend Sean and I were standing out there at Barlow's Knoll in Gettysburg, which is one of the 24-hour access places. You can access that place 24 hours instead of closing at 7 or 10 p.m. And so
Have you ever gotten? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but have you ever got
this hard-hitting reporting? I'm telling you.
Have you ever received any evil EVPs? I mean, anything that was like forceful and very warning or anything like that?
No.
Stop what you're doing.
Not mine. I did get a guy who agreed with us, but he sounded pretty evil. How's that? we were
That's
talking.
all that's important.
We were right
on, dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys can join us in our chat room here. If you go to worldoftheunexplained.com and click on the chat button on the front page, it'll put you in the chat. I think Chuck, our producer, is going to get in there now.
Right.
Are you, Chuck? Okay, as Chuck B. That's right, the one, the only Chuck B. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Doug.
My website is www.ghostlytalk.com.
That's right, ghostlytalk.com.
Brought to you by Folgers. Anyway.
I thought it was Samson.
Oh, Samson. Brought to you by Samson. Okay, it took me a minute to get that, but I get it now.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Here I am. I'm extolling the virtues of condenser microphones. I'm telling you, it is crystal clear. Crystal clear.
Like Crystal Pepsi. No.
And we all know how that worked out.
Nice and smooth.
Product placement night. Yeah. Nokia.
I was noticing that nice
I don't have any
Seiko watch
products to
Trent was
place.
wearing earlier tonight. Oh, man.
Anyway.
But it's going to be a late night, I'm sure. And we want to thank Anita here at the Twin Lakes Lodge for allowing us
she's
to come
been
down.
so great.
Very hospitable.
First of all, what I want to say about the Twin Lakes Lodge is their website is thetwinlakeslodge.com. It's absolutely beautiful here. Anita really does care for this place, and it shows.
It's immaculate.
Anita and Bobby have really put a lot of time and effort and energy into making this place a great place to come and stay.
Doug's room has a big spa.
I happen to have a big
it's
hot
bad.
tub
It
spa
really
kind of
is.
thing. And my room isn't the notoriously haunted room, so you do have
that to John.
Yeah, we give that one to John.
We give it to John.
We figured he'd be cool
And John
with
can
it.
actually tell you some of the experiences he had last night And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to turn it over to John now. Is that okay with you, John? I want John to tell you about some of the creepy stuff that went on last night while he was trying to go to sleep.
But
Wow.
And while they change mics, the thing about the place is you can get, first of all, it's very peaceful. It's very quiet, very immaculate, very nice. They care for the place. You can get the haunted room, you can get the unhaunted rooms. There really is something for everybody here, and it's a working bed and breakfast. So you can call them up, go on their website, get reservations, and just show up. It's conveniently located right next to some mall.
It's Four Seasons. It's pretty much the heart of Greensboro, which is kind of weird because it's pretty peaceful, and yet downtown Greensboro. And,
yeah, we're like half a mile
right-
away from like this
right there.
this city. Yet you hear none of it. When you step outside, it's like you're in a peaceful valley. It's just so insanely different what a half mile can do for you. But
That's true. We got John here. John, say hey to the folks.
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
Welcome, John. We didn't know this last night. We did not know how our first night would fare, right? We all know already because I mentioned how my night went. I started analyzing. 10 minutes later, crash, I was out. So my night was very peaceful and quiet. You had a different experience, though. You were in the more haunted of the rooms.
Yeah, these guys chose to stick me in that room. I'm old. I need some sleep. No, what do? They throw me in a room with a bunch of ghosts.
Yeah, only the best for you, John.
No, but, all kidding aside and everything, you sit back and you just try to analyze some of the things that are occurring and happening. And during the course of trying to connect the dots, as I call it, when we start to do an investigation, you have different occurrences and different types of things that start to happen. And it was about 3 o'clock in the morning when all of us decided we were going to finally get some sleep. Went up and laying down, trying to fall asleep in the bed, and I started hearing different sounds up there, the different taps and the raps, and they were pretty consistent. And then I was laying there and I went, okay, somebody's trying to basically say something. So basically I said, are there any children here? Once for yes, twice for no, and I got tapped. And then it kept up. I asked a few more questions, and then I was like, okay, it was already about 20 minutes after 3, and I was tired. And I said, all right, guys, knock it off. I'm going to sleep now. I'm really not interested in dealing with any of this. And surprisingly, everything calmed right down. It totally stopped. So in the morning when I got up, and I was sitting there for a while because I was just watching the news, and had the same type of occurrence that took place again. I started getting the taps and the taps and the taps. And they were coming from one side of the room. Then I was like, okay, could be anything, got to look for logical stuff. Then I got up and I was sitting on the opposite side of the room, and I started having it on the opposite side of the room.
Wow.
So, I'm just sitting there listening to these taps as they're occurring and as they're happening. And I just said, okay, I think this is the room we're going to set up in tonight to do our investigation.
That'll be very cool. Because last night we just went to the basement.
Right.
That was pretty extensive. 2 different groups.
We were excited about it because the basement was where a Class C EVP was taken, and of course we all get together and we're like, oh, we got to get audio. So we went immediately down to the basement to try and get better EVPs and figure out what's going on there. Yeah. But yes, we did it. It just sort of worked out. I don't think we discussed or didn't plan out and thoroughly plan and orchestrate this, but it worked out to where we separated into 2 groups.
I orchestrated it.
John is the mastermind of orchestration because we didn't even know we were being orchestrated.
And it was orchestrated anyway.
And so what we did, there were 2 groups. One group went down first, and basically it was left up to you how you wanted to do your investigation. We had set up the recording equipment down there and left it running for both groups. And so 3 of us go down. We did our thing for half an hour, came up. We took over the mics, and the other group went down and did their thing. It turned out the first group, which was our group, the 3 of us who are on the mics right now,
here. Yeah.
We had gone down. Where did all the other people go right now? They're over there investigating, aren't they?
Oh, actually, no. What they're doing is several of them are in the other room listening to Dr. L's EVPs.
Oh, okay. Yep,
Oh,
that was
okay.
something that we wanted to do. I wanted to do too. But anyway, so we had we didn't discuss it, but we ended up being on. We went down. We familiarized ourselves with the basement, the layout of the basement. We saw that it's sort of in two sides. One side is like where the furnace is separates it into two sides.
Yeah, it would be. I guess that would be the divider.
And it would be like a north and a south side, I think. Wait, if you go down and there, yeah, it would be a north and a south side. And there's creepy like crawl spaces. They're having a party in there now.
Yeah. Well, we gotta steer the ship, man.
But there's like creepy crawl spaces that you would expect to be, ooh, that's got to be haunted, right? And so we didn't go lights out. We just started asking the questions. All three of us seemed to be in the north side of the basement, toward the stairs. And as the questions were progressing, they were actually getting more and more pointed, and more leaning toward. And we were just, when I do questions, I whatever comes to mind, right? That's my rule of questioning is whatever comes to mind. And somehow, when you sum up all the questions, they seem to be leaning toward both children and the lake. We didn't plan it. It was just
That's
what
true.
came to mind.
It totally did.
Yeah.
And there was a noticeable shift in energy or shift in the mood or I don't know how to describe it. I called it tension. That's the wrong word because it wasn't tense.
No.
It's just this elevated feeling or this elevated notice that you took. And it seemed to be coming from behind me to my right. And
At first, we thought it was a crawl space, though. I mean, that's what I thought, because the crawl space was dark and creepy, and maybe psychologically you're sort of directed to that dark spot. But
you expect that to be where the creepy feelings come from.
But in fact, it was more towards the steps,
just the stairs themselves, and under the stairs, which is it's not creepy. They don't look creepy, do they?
Not at all.
They look like utilitarian steps.
I mean, you want to see a creepy basement? I'll take you into some creepy basements.
right. And it's not a creepy basement. But it was definitely interesting, and that we all got this feeling. We also commented before we came back up that the other side of the basement, the south side,
pretty much nothing there.
It's like, this is just
It's the basement,
Yeah, it's
not the
just
same feeling.
an area, and it's not very large basement. All in all, I mean, it's what a normal room size basement,
Not particularly large.
It's clean. It's not creepy. But the one side was definitely noticeably different than the other.
So, and then we came up, and we didn't discuss anything with Group
said,
B. That way we could keep our control sort of, free from influence. And then Scott and Al and Chuck went down there. Unbeknownst to that, they went down to the south side. Now they didn't know where we were when we went down, but they went to the opposite end, and sure enough, apparently they didn't get much at all.
Which coincides with our assessment that the south side of the basement was just didn't feel anything there.
Yeah, it was strange, but it worked out very well.
I wonder if we had put like one or two people in one side, one or two people in the other side, and see what the difference was with the same line of questioning. I wonder what questions they asked. I wonder if their questions. See, because I fell asleep before their turn. When I
don't know. I heard something about they were trying to get some questions with trying to pass gas, if I heard correctly.
Roger. I think it says.
I heard that whole communication was a interesting communication.
Really?
And then somebody said something to me. They had a foul smell, and I went, "Gee, no wonder."
Yeah, it's crazy. But then, John, you were talking about today. Were you the one talking about the drownings that had happened in the lake, which is weird because
came down this morning.
Just so coincides.
We were sitting here having coffee and stuff, just chit-chatting in front of the fireplace this morning, and we were just talking. I said, "Well, Nita, I have a funny feeling." I says, just from trying to connect the dots, I said, there's children's spirit, within the building. And we're talking back and forth, and I just said to her, do you know of any children, died on the property or anything? And she sat there, she goes, as a matter of fact, she said there was a story about a boy drowning in the lake right here. So I said, that's interesting. She goes, I don't know how true it is. Let me call one of the neighbors and find out. And she did. And in fact, that he verified that a little boy did drown in the lake, right? Well, not actually directly in front of this, but the other part of the lake
Right.
that is filled in now. So here again, is that coincidental? Does it tie in? It's a good possibility.
That's true. But it's very interesting, how the questions were directed in that way, and sure enough, the actual physical facts of the matter, sort of coincide with the questioning. It's pretty interesting stuff. But,
and mind you, we had no ideas of this previous. We just were feeling it out, and it just sort of let it happen. And that is what it pointed toward.
Yes.
So, remarkable, perhaps. At this point, it's inconclusive, of course, but it does add to the, add up in the balance sheet of the investigation.
It does. And tonight, we have our Proffit brought the intuitive Noel, and that will add a totally different aspect to the investigation, and basically,
we can fill in.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
So anyway, and that'll be really, really, really neat because we've got sort of the technical aspect of it. We had talked about yesterday when Scott called from Omaha. The levels of investigation. John's pursuing a more cut, simple path. Not low tech, but I mean a different aspect of the technical side of it. You're much more digital, crystal clear.
I'm a little modern,
right.
Yeah, a little bit more modern.
But you're covering both aspects, and then we have Noel bringing a whole different angle of things.
This is I know, and this is the kind of thing I think paranormal investigations would benefit from, is listen to everything.
That's true.
And if you happen to have a medium, a psychic, or an intuitive such as Noel, you could get a rounded view of your investigation site and write it, just jot it down.
Yeah.
I don't even care if they're wrong. I don't. It's information at that point, and it's something that you can investigate, something you can look at, and it could be something that helps explain some phenomena that you're experiencing or that you capture.
That's true.
There's nothing wrong with more information.
No.
What's bad is having not enough.
Well, yeah, that's true, and we certainly are not suffering from that this weekend. We got it all. Why? Who do we have here?
Well, wait just 1 second. Doug?
Yeah?
Scott just called me.
Uh-oh.
And he wanted to know where your little green friend is.
Now, I told him my green friend was going to be coming with me, but then my green friend backed out at the last moment.
You know how they are.
You can't do an investigation without your green friend.
I know, that's what I kept telling it, but I was depressed as well.
Well, that's how it goes. So
we do.
Look,
we've brought on now.
Look who it is.
I'm not green, but I'm a friend.
It's Al Proffit, Dr. Al Proffit.
It is
Dr.
nice to
Al
be here.
Proffit.
Thank you for having me on the show, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Tonight is your night of shows. You did a remarkable job
with
us.
Speaking of
thank
Strange
you.
with Joshua P. Warren.
One of my heroes, Joshua P. Warren, director of Lemur,
Yep.
and also host of Speaking of Strange.
Speaking of Strange.
On WWNC.
Yes, I believe that's right.
Okay. Out of Asheville, North Carolina.
News Talk Radio 570.
Thank
Talk of the
you.
Mountains,
Yeah,
absolutely.
right.
Yeah,
Do you know what?
He wears a lot of hats, Joshua does.
Yes, he does. And you know what's interesting is on permanently. Now, I'm not driving my own vehicle, so I cannot prove this to you guys this weekend. But if I were driving my own vehicle, we could go out to it right now. Right?
Okay, right at this moment.
Right. If I had it here with me, we could walk out to it right now. I could unlock the door, or I could even be hands off and let someone else unlock the door. Right?
Yes.
You could get in, turn on the stereo, and you would see what station is on. Now, obviously, not the one here in Asheville.
Right.
I couldn't really tune into from where
Right.
I live in Detroit, near Detroit, Michigan. But there is one that's called News Talk Radio 950.
Okay.
In my area, and that is the one that is on my station right now.
All right.
If you go up and it's AM 950 News Talk news talk radio, and
All right.
I'm telling you that's what I would listen to if I lived in this glorious area. Which, by the way, you've got great weather.
It's great weather. The
Awesome
scenery's
hauntings,
pretty.
Scenery,
Yeah.
you've got
Quite
it all.
proud of it.
Yeah, we say Detroit funny, but other than that, we're pretty good.
You do
Yeah,
indeed. But the but that would be the station that I'd listen to. I'm telling you, and I guarantee it, and I could prove it if I happen to have my vehicle with me.
Oh, well, I believe you. I've known you
Excellent.
long enough now to I believe everything that you tell me. Absolutely.
Oh, and I've talked about it. You could go, in the Ghostly Talk archives, and you'll whenever they tease me, a little bit about it, because that's what I listen to.
But I saw
News
Echoes
Talk
by
Radio.
Pink Floyd in the back seat
There-
of the vehicle you're driving tonight.
Remember,
yeah.
that's not my vehicle.
I love Pink Floyd.
Actually, I should let you go. If you want to learn a lot about me,
Uh-huh.
I could give you my iPod, and you could go through the
All
list
right.
of music in there. It's
And what
all-
would we find there?
You would find 60s music.
Oh,
a
this
lot
is good.
of 60s
This is
music.
good.
You get, the Birds and
I feel sorry for those of you who actually didn't get to live in the '60s with me because it was a great time. I'm
I
telling
do.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Rub it in,
do.
Al.
I
Just
just-
rub it in.
I
It
just
was.
hope I managed to experience the 60s in my previous life. Is all.
You probably were.
'cause
You were probably. Yeah.
I might have started the thing.
You may have been Jim Morrison.
I wonder. I should go to his grave.
At least for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo, that was fun. Okay, what's next?
Oh, he broke on through to the other
Yeah,
side.
yeah, that's true. We're gonna break on through the other side after this break, which is coming up right
What a
now.
good segue. That was excellent.
That worked out pretty well, right?
That Trent doesn't miss a thing, does
He's
he? He
not.
is
He's
good.
like right on top of this.
Yeah,
I'm telling
okay,
you.
come on.
So, and thank you, Joshua P. Warren, for the previous 2 hours.
Absolutely,
that was
it's been a lot of
amazing.
fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna give the numbers here for you to call in to our little
Program this into your telephone.
Indeed.
1-800-722. Wait, I figured it out last night.
Yeah, it was 877 scare you too.
1-877. It was 722. Well, I don't remember.
Anyway, scare
772.
877.
Spell it out.
Okay,
Spell it out on
no,
your phone.
You can spell it out. 877 scare you too. We'll be back. And we're back to World of the Unexplained. Doug has mysteriously vanished. But we still got Al Proffit.
Yeah.
And,
the green alien came and took
Yeah,
Doug away.
that's
yeah.
true. He was a little bit upset about that, so he's been whisked away, and hopefully, if he returns, good. And if not, well, I hope he's doing all right. Al, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, Trent. How about yourself? We've had this has been a very eventful weekend so far, has it not?
Oh, absolutely. And hopefully, Chuck. Oh, okay. I thought he leans in. Sometimes he's got something to say, and he's the producer, and he's busy there, so maybe.
The last time I saw him doing that, we had malfunctions going off with the technical stuff all over the place. With we assumed to be the ghost of Twin Lakes, who was creating havoc on the board, and then actually turned the VCR.
That's
on.
right, and it
Yes.
was really crazy. It was also kind of funny to see Scott kind of jump up like he did,
Yeah.
because we all know that Scott's a little bit jumpy when it comes to any kind of supernatural stuff like that. But it was really, really strange.
Yeah, it was.
It happened twice here with the board. I mean,
at the very beginning of the show and the very end.
yeah, that
Yeah.
too. Which
And we
is-
were talking about one of the original things that brought me to Twin Lakes was the fact that Anita Gill was talking about things turning themselves on and off. And then as we were talking about that, lo and behold, we heard the sound, and we turned around behind us, and the VCR turned itself on. It was pretty.
I know.
It was pretty interesting.
as if the spirits here had just performed on cue, as it were.
Absolutely.
So, Al, you covered a little bit of this last night, and honestly, I didn't get to hear any of it.
Yeah, you
So-
were down doing part of the investigation
right.
with John Zaffis, and Doug, I think, was with you at
Oh
that time.
yeah, that's all three of us down there checking it out. If you would please, give us a little the background on the house.
Well,
So-
the background of, and I'm even going to go a little bit deeper this evening.
Right.
Background of the property includes the fact that back before the Civil War, that part of this land that we are on was part of a plantation, and there's actually some sites built on, not on the Twin Lakes property, but in adjoining property that actually still has some of the quarters that actually were the home to the slaves, and so we know that that's a part of a plantation that we're on. But more recently, and for the reason that I was brought here, this was the home of John Hardin. John Hardin is a North Carolina author, has written 2 well-received books. One was Tar Heel Ghost, and the other is The Devil's Tramping Ground. And this is required reading for decades for North Carolina middle school students. And around Halloween time, everybody had to read John Hardin. And so it's really interesting now that the place where he lived is now haunted. And so we find that really interesting that he compiled all these ghost stories, and in a way he was a historian because he collected these ghost stories from all over North Carolina, all the way from the coast into the mountains of western North Carolina. So he was a good historian in that regard, but he also was a paranormal writer. He was also an entrepreneur. He really, truly was a Renaissance man. He did a lot of things, and he did them well. And so that the house here basically was his home. He had, not basically his home, it was his home. And then he was fortunate enough that his teenage children, which we understand to be all boys, lived in a house beside the main house, and then had a dream for all of us with teenagers. But John had them over there, and one of the things that happened here, which was really, really interesting, because I didn't know about this at the time I was doing the initial investigation, one of the boys actually set fire to that house in the attic. And, fortunately, the fire department got here and put it out before the entire structure burned. But when I was doing the initial investigation, I was here for the first night. I did not know this, and I took a series of photographs, and I think a number of you have had a chance to take a look at it. And it appears as though that there are, and the aliens have released Doug. He's back. He's back.
But the photographs.
But the photographs, and it appears as though that it doesn't appear as though there actually is a yellowish light that comes out of a doorway, and it goes up to the ceiling where this fire was. I didn't know that the anomalies were happening at the time that I was taking the photographs. And then I took a series of photographs from a different angle, and then there's this same type of light that's coming out of a different doorway, but it's going up to the same part of the ceiling. And so then I was showing Bobby and Anita Gill, the owners, and also I was showing one of their guests here was the gentleman who's responsible for doing the brochure for Lazy Boy Furniture. And we were going through that, and he's the one who suggested if you go through your thumbnails, if you go through them quickly, it appears as though there's a fire flickering here. And so that's when we begin to notice that. And Anita just sort of, her jaw just came open, and she said, that's exactly where the fire was. So then she takes me over, we go up in the attic, and we look, and you can still see the charred remains in the attic of where the fire had taken place. But now there's no sign at all in this facility of where the fire took place. This is an immaculate place, and there was no sign of any damage whatsoever. But anyway, I was pretty shocked to find that the anomalies that I had captured on film just coincide with the history of the place. And we posted those on a website, and we asked for people to give us their impressions of what could possibly explain this. And the only possible explanation that anybody offered was the fact that it appeared to be film that had been exposed to light. And the kicker on all this is that there were no film. It was digital. It was shot with digital. So there was no way that could be a part of it. And then we showed these photographs to John Zaffis earlier, and his assessment of it was that we'd captured spiritual energy.
It was really amazing, too. Those photographs are truly impressive. And
did you have the flash on? Did it flash to take those?
Yes.
Okay.
The flash was working at that. And, one of the people say, well, one of the things is, well, maybe you were catching your reflection. But I tried, I look at the evidence that I collect in an investigation nightly before I go to bed. And I realized that what I'd captured, and I tried for the next 2 days at the same time of day, same lighting, same angles to recreate these, and never, under the same conditions, and could not replicate these photographs at all.
That's really amazing.
Right, because I don't see anything reflective. It would be, because normally you'd say, oh, that's kind of flash bounce, but there's a couple of problems with that. There needs to be something shiny to bounce off of.
That's right.
And you should be able to reproduce it. under the same conditions.
Exactly.
And also, it shouldn't reminisce of fire in something that had been on fire at one point.
That's right. And another thing that I do to try to make sure that I can explain things the best I can, because I think paranormal investigators need to be our own best psychic. I mean, not our own best psychic, but our own best skeptic, is that I take 5 shots in a row from the same angle to control it, And the thing about it is I'm taking the same shot 4 and 5 times in a row, but yet the light coming out of the doorway seems to be moving. It's flickering back and forth. So it's really interesting, and I'd be happy for anybody to explain it, and I've yet to have anybody come forth with any better explanation than what we've come up with, and that's basically that it's probably spiritual energy.
That's very true. And also, you went down to the basement at that time as well?
I did. There was
What
another
happened
thing.
there?
Anita had told me that that she had this feeling of being watched and in the basement and those type of things. So I set up a voice-activated recorder there, and I actually spent maybe 45 minutes to an hour sitting down there. Really, nothing really of event happened to me, so I left the recorder and I went back the next day, and I found that maybe a minute 45 seconds had elapsed. Now I can explain most of this. Because I got really excited, I thought, I've got a minute 45 second EVP, and that's an electronic voice phenomenon for those that are listening and might not know. But what actually had occurred was that I found a half-eaten nut beside the recorder. It appears as though that a squirrel had come in and had sat there beside my recorder, and it had, and I thought, oh my gosh, scratching. This is paranormal scratching. And then I was able to explain. But then at the end of that thing, you hear a man's voice. But it was Class C, and a Class C EVP is that no matter what you do to it, no matter how many times you listen to it, you cannot understand what it says. And the only thing we could tell was a man's voice, but we could never ascertain what the voice said. But clearly it was a man's voice.
Still, I mean, one EVP, even a Class C, is better than none at all, and definitely very cool.
But we've brought in the big guns. Now, Doug has a condenser microphone.
He does.
Yes, I do.
If he does not watch this thing carefully, its new home could be in Boone, North Carolina. God, I am envious of this, but I've got the website and the whole thing. So
Hey, Doc,
yes.
did Doug tell you that his green friend is very good with the EVPs?
Oh no, he didn't. But one more reason to have that green friend here.
My green friend could get EVPs like that. Speaking of which, am I late? Was I late? What I did.
We covered for you. We did real well.
Thank you.
Trent and I, we pulled up the slack.
Yeah,
I
we're all
did.
about it, man.
While you were off, we don't know doing what.
I was actually out UFO. I was out looking for setting up. I set up the EVP, the condenser mic, and the laptop. I set it up in the suite that John's staying in.
Okay.
Yeah,
very
where I
cool.
took the fire pictures. The fire
Right.
pictures.
Yes,
so
that's
when I
right.
came back, you're talking about exactly where I was. And I'm doing that because we're approaching midnight, actually.
Oh, we are.
And I was thinking,
What is the witching hour?
well, I call midnight the witching hour. Yet there's other people who say it's 3 a.m.
It's 3
but
a.m.
I'm used to the witching hour being midnight.
But John taught us last night anywhere from 9 p.m. till 6 a.m. the next morning, and from midnight till 3, that's the really fruitful hours. But anything from 9 to 6, just you could get anything.
That's true.
Right.
And we had actually discussed that pretty much in depth last night. For you listeners out there, if you want to talk to me or Al or Doug or Doug's green friend, the number is 1-800-877-SCARE-U2.
Blips and bleeps.
And Doug, I think, actually does have the number now. Do you still
Yeah, do you
remember
have
that?
722-7382.
Okay, 877-722.
7382.
7382.
So it's 1-877-SCARE-U2.
Two. Right. That's right.
Scare, the letter U, the number 2. It works out to 722-7382.
Absolutely. Well, it's good that your disappearance was not in vain, Doug. You've done well.
My little abduction seminar or whatever happened, or episode, happened. No, I just needed to. I wanted to get it set up because it's approaching midnight. We're about 12 minutes, according to that clock, away from the top of the hour. I wanted it to be recording, and since I didn't know what our schedule was and everything. I'm like, I'm setting it up right now.
Yeah, that's true.
I wanted to set it up because I'll go through and hopefully, unlike last night where I analyzed a full 10 minutes of an hour and 46 minute recording, I want to analyze the whole thing, and I want to see if I get something so that I can share it. No matter what, though, I'll take these recordings, right, and anything I'll put onto CD, or I can put up on the web even if you have internet at home.
I do. Oh yes.
The cable or the
cable,
the fast
I've got
one.
broadband,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, or I can just dump it in a file and and you guys can download it, so you can get the raw data.
Right, that'd be very cool.
That would be, yeah. I'd love to have a copy of that.
Because I can throw it onto DVD or CD, or I can. Now the video, that would be a bit too big, because I do have my camcorder up there. I haven't started taking anything, because I want to do that if we're doing you were going to do a Q&A, right?
Oh sure.
Question answer, a 1-2 thing.
Yeah.
Up there. And when we do, when we go up into
yes,
the suite,
we are.
Hopefully around
John
midnight.
had slipped into a trance. I could tell. He was
he
channeling
did.
messages from somewhere.
Well,
We're going to do a
we
Q&A.
just interrupted him too, you know.
Well, we're going to do a Q&A, but I just got another telephone call from Scott.
He's still looking for GAG,
He's looking
Green
for
Alien
Doug,
Guy.
and he wants to know where is the alien?
Where is that guy?
Why does Scott want my alien?
He's become obsessed with it.
I'm
guess so.
feeling alienated. And
Oh my gosh, that was. I
There's
can't
a
cut
huge-
you off. Yes, I
Green-
can right
no,
now.
No red button over there to cut that, is
That's
there?
no. We can edit it out. Anyway.
the green alien guy is a
Oh,
hoot.
the prince of puns beside
Yeah.
me here.
Oh. Is that another one of your titles? You know.
Prince of Fun.
Yeah.
Pop. Yeah.
Or pup.
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 No,
No,
pop.
no,
Pop.
that's-
Pop. It's
obviously
pop.
we don't spell well here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I did want it to be recording. I wanted it to be recording, especially for the midnight hour.
Right.
And I wanted to, if we do a Q&A, that's when I'll use my camcorder.
Uh-huh.
I'll put that onto a DVD or something and send it down to because someone will get a hold of it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
So
want a
you'll have
copy of it.
All right.
Yeah.
And we'll
Yeah,
see.
we all want copies of
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Copies of everything. Copies all around.
That's right. It's
And-
Christmas by
Well,
golly.
it is. That's right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What better way to.
Exactly.
Sending
And
EVP.
here's the thing, and I didn't know this until today. Well, I mean, I knew it before, but I didn't have a clear, really, really good example until today. Dr. Al was showing folks this picture, and in it, this is not of this property here; it's of a different property. But there's this picture, and it's got a little orb on it, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Just
we're
a
looking at
little.
it.
There's a
We're like,
little
oh,
orb.
there's a little orb down
Little
there.
orb
That's
hanging
cute.
out.
Big
But
deal.
but then
Yeah.
he's like, but there's something else in the photo, and if you zoom in on the window, there's this girl. Okay,
Oh my
well,
gosh,
here's- that was creepy. It was really creepy.
That's a
but
great.
here's the
Yeah.
thing. I wanted to know, Dr. Al, how did you find out about that? Did you find it yourself?
I learned about this property because, as a part of my research agenda, where I'm a university professor, I study anomalous occurrences that take place in educational institutions.
I see.
And this building is on the campus of AB Tech. In Asheville. So I set about trying to find any and all haunted locations or schools, whether it be college or public schools, that were experiencing anything anomalous. And I'd been contacted and said that this had a long history of being haunted, and since it fit into my research agenda, the university had cleared me to do this type of research. I contacted the people who is now a museum and contacted them and asked them if I could come in and do include it in my research, and they said sure. And we have a history of hauntings here, and we'd be happy to have you. So my initial visit to this place, I walked around all the outside facility and I shot pictures, and and honestly, that's the very first shot that I took of that facility. And if you see that photograph ever,
Who pointed out the window? Who pointed that out to you? Did you find it yourself?
Oh, I just found it myself. As a matter of fact, I got out of the car, and that's the first shot I took. I parked in the parking lot at the Smith McDowell house at AB Tech, and I just got out, and I was going to walk. I walked around the house shooting, and I didn't know what I'd gotten until I got home, loaded onto my computer. It was the first picture I brought up, and you just think, oh my gosh! And so that's the first picture. I got out. got my camera out, got out of the car. That's the first shot I took. I took 5 shots of that, and she happens to be in the first shot. And then I walked around, took 5 more from the other side, took 5 from all sides, and but nobody actually pointed that window out. I didn't know what was on the other side of that window.
So never mind.
But what
I was going to say was it never hurts to have multiple people looking at a photo, because sometimes someone will look at a photo or listen to audio or watch a video, because if I could easily miss stuff, and
absolutely,
if I just review my own stuff, I could easily miss something, or something that means something to somebody may not mean anything to me, and vice versa. So I think that getting copies of this really, really help.
Yeah, and when I brought it up, I thought, oh no, it might be like you. I might just be seeing something that's not there because I want to see something so badly, and I'm conjuring this up in my mind. So my wife Jenny, who is the skeptic that keeps me grounded, you really have to present something to her of a substantial nature. And I brought her over. I said, I'm going to bring this up and see if you see anything. And she went, oh my gosh, there's a little girl in the window. And I thought, well, if my number one skeptic sees this, I'm probably off and running with something here. So I've shown it to a number of people, and and I've showed it to you guys, and it was really nice to me. It validated a lot. When I brought that thing up on the computer, I heard there's like this collective gasp behind me.
I literally gasped.
And the great point of validation for me was John Zaffis saying that he said, "You've taken a picture of a ghost." And I thought, oh, that's music to my ears, John. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, that was some pretty fantastic shots.
He's seen a lot of photos in his day.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll see a lot more, I hope, if people keep going out and finding incredible places like this, the Twin Lakes Lodge. And snap a few photos around your college campus.
Yeah,
for
you never know.
Yeah,
I mean,
schools
you really
are
don't.
notoriously places. I mean, there's a lot of anomalous activity that take place inside educational institutions.
And I believe it. That's obviously part of the formative years.
Yes,
that's a place where
there's a lot of emotional energy going on there too at colleges. I think
that's it.
The
That's
kids
right.
also, you got to figure those kids are at the age where the hormones.
Oh yeah.
Their bioelectrochemical furnaces are ablazing.
Yeah,
and it's the same age as the it's the upper end of the range of the age of poltergeists.
And I was going to think, as a matter of fact, my research has also include public schools. And I've gone in, so you get that, you go into middle schools, and this is where the poltergeist type activity should be just right, because, you've got all these, 11 to 14 to 15-year-olds, and this is where a lot of poltergeist activity is associated with that.
And that would be interesting, because that would help either support or maybe detract from the what was it, 11 to 20 something girls primarily causing
that's been the formula
activity.
for a long time involving poltergeists.
Right, and just having you study this kind of thing could very well either bring that to light and say, what, there just really is a lot of activity with these kids, or maybe it's universal to all kids.
And there's another phenomenon that's being written about some, and called the Indigo Children.
Oh wow!
And so I've
Good
included
one.
those, and one of the things I want to pat the Hawaii International Conference on Education on the back, because they have accepted this work. I'll be presenting this work, and this is not.
Can I go with you?
Yeah. In January, I'll be in Hawaii. I just want to rub that into everybody here, but
road trip, guys.
Road trip.
And there's an amazingly haunted school in Hawaii too that I've been invited in to take another look at. I looked at it the last time I was there. It's one of the parts of my research, but where I've been researching now for a while. And if there are any educators out there that know of any schools that have any type of anomalous activity, it doesn't necessarily have to be a haunting. It could be the Indigo Children. It could be poltergeist activity or whatever. But where I was studying that, and I just presented, I thought, well, I have to do, as a professor, I have to do research presentations, I have to do articles, and I thought, well, I've been researching that at another university, and I just recently switched over to where I'm at Appalachian State University, and I thought, well, I'll just send that in. The mainstream educational community usually does not accept this type of thing. You go, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But they wrote back and said, yeah, we'd like to have you present the research. And so I'll be presenting, the actual, and there'll be people there, and, they'll be talking about, the best ways that people learn and the best ways for principals to lead schools and those type of things. And then it'll be interesting to see how, when I get up and talk about anomalous occurrences inside schools, what's going to take place.
What do you do when your school is haunted? Well,
we call me.
There you go.
That's Al Proffit.
Al Proffit.
Yeah.
Well,
That's right.
There's a couple things. First of all,
How can they get in touch with you, Al? I mean, in case
well, they can get
somebody-
in touch with me a couple different ways. I have an email. It's really clear and it's really easy to remember. It's called Help for the Haunted, and there's no numbers there. It's Help for the Haunted, and you can reach me there, or you could reach me by just logging on to Appalachian State University's website and looking in the Department of Educational Leadership and Foundations, and you'll find me there.
We're 35 seconds till midnight.
35 seconds also to another break.
And that would be another break. And,
Yeah.
And I want to say, Dr. Al, this is amazing getting to talk to you. Thank you.
Oh,
so
it's
much.
Yeah, it's
amazing
such a
for me
pleasure.
to be here. It's amazing for me to be here. The pleasure's really mine. I'm just I'm the kid in the candy store.
So
It's very cool.
So during the break,
So-
I guess I'll check on our experiment, and everybody, 1-877-SCARE-U2, program that into your phones.
That's right. And then we'll be back, and hopefully we'll see who else wants to take the stand.
Yeah.
The chair, the mic spot, as it were. Maybe we can get some of this investigation on the road. So
Yeah. And thank you, gentlemen.
absolutely.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
And we're back to World of the Unexplained. Trent Laggy here. Emptiness all around. No, seriously, something very, very strange just happened mere moments ago when we went on break. Al's alarm went off, bizarrely enough, at midnight. And there's no logical explanation for it whatsoever.
Well,
it just went off.
He definitely
you
wasn't
know?
planning on waking up at noon
No,
this afternoon.
No, not at all. It was just truly bizarre. I mean, that's like what? Instance number 5 of bizarre technical things going on.
Okay,
here?
stop and think about it now.
Yeah.
Doug's sitting here and he's talking. He says, 12 o'clock's approaching. We should really get set up to go up there and start doing some recordings at 12 o'clock.
Right.
Then he made an announcement. He goes, it's 12 minutes to 12. And shortly after that, we hit 12 o'clock, and Al's alarm goes off at 12 o'clock. Coincidental? I don't think so.
Definitely not. I mean, especially
That's a very good point.
especially with the board doing what it's doing, the VCR. I mean, come on, that's really, I don't know what to say about it. It's unexplained, hence the name of our show. I mean, seriously.
I still,
know?
I mean, short of mental breakdown or a stroke or seizure or something that's coming on, I honestly can't explain what
No,
happened with the
there was-
board yesterday. And what's even freakier is it happened both at the beginning and the end of the show.
Well, it happened twice,
Yeah.
and then it happened at the beginning
Yeah.
and at the end of the show. Right now, I believe Al is up there, starting to check on the actual room that we were speaking of earlier, the room in which the fire photos were taken. Last time he was here, Doug had put the recording equipment up there, and I believe that's it. And somewhere, believe it or not, Jay Scott is running around, probably scowling at things. I don't know, whatever he does,
We changed him this weekend.
You think he's a believer now?
No.
No.
No, he's just scowling at things more, walking around.
He's going off the deep end now.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
I got a lot of really funny stories about Scott, and I don't know if I really need to tell them on the air because, I mean, well, they're pretty crazy, but I mean, they're hilarious, And if Scott were here, I'm sure he wouldn't mind, but I won't tell him without him.
No, I
being
hear you.
here. It definitely was kind of funny seeing him. Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that VCR? Did you see it? I mean, you saw how he was last
No,
night.
he was about to blow snot bubbles,
I
man.
mean, totally. That's how bad it was.
For those of you that don't know the reference or what I'm referencing, it's the that famous scene in the Blair Witch Project
Oh yeah, with
with the shaky camera and the light and the
Yeah.
and the snot bubble.
Sure enough, there he is, scowling, ready to rock the very Komodo dragon of
All
our
right,
little
what have
show.
they been saying about me tonight?
Nothing.
I was having a reading done by a psychic,
So how was it?
It was okay.
Any past life regression or anything?
Well, I found out that Chuck and I were in a homosexual relationship. We
Back in 1877.
yeah,
I knew this.
We were trying to
The right royal mayor
we were trying to
Aberdeen.
We were trying to illegally cross the U.S. border from Mexico. And we wanted to adopt a child.
That's a very touching story, Scott.
And Chuck was actually wanting to become a priest in the Jewish church. See,
Priests in the Jewish.
priests, rabbis.
They're
excuse
called
me.
rabbis, Scott.
Did you hear about this? The rabbis now that they're going to allow homosexual rabbis in certain sects of the of Judaism.
That's interesting because
Yeah,
isn't
that
a lot
shows.
of the anti-homosexual stuff that's Old
Yeah, I
Testament.
mean, this is where
true.
this is where we
I mean,
teach
totally,
our.
like
Yeah.
Leviticus and
We're
Numbers,
gonna
I believe.
you're going to take your kids to see a gay rabbi. This makes a lot of sense for America, doesn't it?
So how was your reading, Scott?
It was okay.
Okay.
I'll give it a 5 out of 10.
Oh, well, that's pretty good, though. I mean,
She hit a
'cause
couple good points,
'cause
but
you
all in
are-
all, a lot
you
of
are
it
the-
I think is cold reading stuff that most people can do.
Wow.
But, she told me that she was, sometimes it hits, sometimes it don't kind of thing. She thought I was a very hard person to read. I was not intentionally trying to be, honestly. I know y'all don't believe
Putting
that.
on his poker face.
Yeah. We know Scott's
877 scare you too. Let's talk about. Is there people in the chat room?
Robin Valley's in there, and I think there are one or two
How's it
others.
going,
man.
Scott? Okay, great.
We're do-
Is Laura in there tonight?
No, I haven't
can't,
seen
Scott,
her.
I can't see the
Okay,
computer. all
I,
right.
think I can't
let
see
me
it from
let me
here.
see through
Have we had any calls?
the side of the computer. No,
We hadn't had any calls
no,
at
no,
all.
No, well, that's all right.
Is anybody listening?
I'm sure they are. I mean, especially after our bit with Speaking of Strange earlier tonight.
Yeah, I'm
You know,
hoping
that was-
so.
that was
Let
a
us know
big
if you're
deal.
listening and ask us some questions. 877 scare you 2. That's 1-877 scare you 2. The letter U and the number 2 on your telephone. You can give
Not-
us a call here, and we'll talk about whatever you want.
Sure enough.
We're not gonna. What was that? I don't know.
Well, okay.
You know what?
877 scare you 2. It's a toll free number. It doesn't cost you a dime anywhere in the U.S. or Canada
Yep.
or Mexico,
Or American Samoa. We got some listeners
Virgin
out there.
Islands. Wow, somebody might actually be listening to us. In a
Seriously.
different part
Thanks
of the
again,
world
Joshua
tonight.
Warren. I mean,
Yeah, Joshua Warren.
I don't know what I was doing there. What kind of weird noise was that? Anyways, Scott, I don't know if you heard what I just said. You might have been outside, but at midnight, Al's alarm went off.
I don't think you were here for that. Yeah.
For no
No.
apparent reason. Al's alarm went off.
Alarm clock?
Yeah, his alarm clock went off. Now, it makes no sense because, he wouldn't have tried to get up at noon today, like Chuck was saying. I mean, it just went off.
Weird.
Well, another
know,
thing I
seriously.
thought about after that just now.
I was thinking maybe he set his clock to get up at noon today and just screwed it off.
No.
Uh-uh.
I think, I don't think that was a possibility.
No.
But the thing I was thinking of was that phone call that we got last night. That was at
That was really weird.
midnight, roughly, wasn't it?
That was around midnight, yeah. They're
And-
asking directions to Twin Lakes Lodge.
That's
Basically,
that's
yeah.
true.
and no one ever showed up.
Yeah.
That is true. I totally forgot about that. They're
No one
asking
else
directions
is
for-
booked for this weekend. From
Yeah,
what I
no one's
understand.
booked for
Yet somebody wanted
Somebody
to have
wanted directions. How to get here, driving.
Stalker.
Stalker.
I have no idea.
Or a Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah, Andrei Kartovsky. That's a good film. Stalker. Anyway,
Let us know you're out there.
Absolutely.
877 scare you 2. I'm going to continue to poke at this diatribe until someone calls. 877 scare you 2.
but I mean that's really strange. I mean,
Now you have to go through. You have to go through a system. Now it'll ask you a series of questions when it gets there. It'll say, if you want to leave a message, press this. If you want to leave a message for this show, press this.
Oh.
If you're calling live and you want to get in on the show, press this on this show and press this on this show. I think we're number 2
That's right.
on the second portion of that message.
Right.
So just listen to the whole spiel.
Don't get frustrated. Just be patient.
That's right. Be patient, like
we
Chuck.
we like throwing
Laid back with his mind on his money and his money on his mind.
till 6 in the
Quote,
morning.
Yo.
Quoting Dre.
Yeah,
That's it.
I can't. Wow. Okay. But I mean, seriously, there's a lot of weird things going on, and right now, I believe Proffit and probably Doug and John are up there in the flame room.
Flame room.
You know, because Al took the pictures up there and had the bizarre fire imagery show up. You know,
Okay.
so I call it the flame room, even though it's not.
No,
Really.
it's a
You know what's
appropriate name for it, I guess, man.
It apparently caught on fire at one time. That's what I was talking about.
You know what's going to suck tonight?
What's that?
Taking all this equipment back to my house.
Yeah, I thought about that earlier
Yeah.
myself at
Yeah.
the middle of the night.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you'd do me a favor, actually.
What's that?
You live really close to here, right?
Yeah, well, fairly.
I was wondering if you might take John back to the airport tomorrow. Save me a trip from
Scott.
Louisville back to... Anyway, Louisville's a long way from here, man. It's not that I don't like John. I love John. I just don't want to drive all the way back from it. Woodchuck's 2 miles down the road, man. The airport's right here.
I'm Jay Scott.
Okay, I see you helping out a lot. Trent's like, okay, I'm here. What do you want me to do?
Put on the lights.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here.
I got my tie on.
Well, you know, I saw.
I'm not really sure what that was all about. Go ahead, Scott.
I saw this guy in the
I know
airport.
you're
I think I told you guys about this.
Yeah, it's weird.
This is the weirdest thing. If anybody knows, give us a call here. 877-SCARE-YOU2. There was this black guy in the airport. I mean, dark black guy. He looked like he was from Africa or somewhere. Definitely not like an African American, like African American.
Yeah.
But like darker black, like he's from another African country.
Right.
Coming through the airport, he had a very long gray beard, and he was wearing some kind of turban thing on his head, and he was wearing this long flowing robe. And he came through, and he had his carry on, and this other guy that looked like kind of like a normal American black guy. He was walking up to him and immediately goes straight for him, bows almost on the ground, bows twice to this guy, and then like takes his bag, which is really funny because when he took his bag, the guy's just like, "Fetch my bag, servant," kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. He was just like, "Puh," and just threw it off to him.
That's really strange.
But it was really, I didn't know what kind of religious figure
I'm
he
telling
was.
you, he reminds me. I mean, that kind of reminds me of Sikhism, but Sikhism is around Amritsar, central India, and
Sikhism.
Yeah, SIKH.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that.
Well, isn't there something that they adorn to that? No.
I'm not really too much of an expert on Indian religions. I do know that Sikhism is a divergent sect of Hinduism, I believe. It's very, very big though, and just the turban and the robe.
I know a number of them were being mistaken as Muslims too.
That's
after
true.
September 11th.
That's true.
Wonder why.
They kind of are. I mean, I guess their dress culturally kind of reminds one of Muslims.
The terrorists. The Muslims.
But the other thing I would say,
I'm sure that was the first thing that went through your mind too when you saw these guys.
Islamo-fascist.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, get the guns. No.
9/11 Part 2.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? It pisses me off when I walk into the airport. Well, like I did when I flew to D.C. not too long ago. I walk into the airport, and the guy's like, we need to pull you over for a Homeland Security inspection. I look at the guy and I said, do I look Muslim to you? I'm white. And then part 3 was, my first name is not Muhammad. All right.
Well, what they'll throw back in your face though is that Tim McVeigh, he was a Caucasian.
That's just another. That's just another liberal excuse.
No. What does this have to do with a haunted house?
I have no idea.
That's what I thought. Anyway,
I don't think there are any Muslim ghosts.
I'm just going off, man.
No,
I'm not
just
feeling
going
it.
off.
No.
You know, the one thing that really did. You probably know the guy's name, Chuck, because you know everything about politics. The new guy that got in, I think, into Congress, that's going to swear in on the Koran instead of the Bible.
Yeah, was it Michigan? He's a congressman from Michigan.
I don't know.
I don't remember his name offhand, but I think that there's definitely some precedent for that, because if you go into a court of law, you can opt out of swearing on the Bible.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can.
Did
you know
religious beliefs?
In North Carolina, to hold office under the North Carolina Constitution, it still states that you must believe in the Almighty God. I promise you that. And see, that's what we need to go back to everywhere. That's what built this country and made it great. Mm-hmm. And notice where how the mighty have fallen.
So 100% Christian representatiors in this country?
Yes.
Is that what you're advocating?
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm advocating.
Well, what about
freedom?
It's better.
And when we're talking about freedom of religion, you're just talking about for him to be a Lutheran or a Presbyterian or a Catholic or an Orthodox. Well, maybe an
which
Orthodox.
white bread religion do you want to be part of? Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
Wonder or Bunny Bread or Sunbeam.
Sure.
Nature's
I'm okay
Own,
with that.
Forget about it. Pepperidge
I'm okay with
Farm,
that.
honey, wheat, rye bread, the good kind. Forget about it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I know Islam is the
boring.
religion of peace.
I don't think religion and peace should even be used in the same sentence.
No,
ever.
seriously. I do.
It doesn't seem that way. Except for
both
maybe,
Trent and myself have Muslim friends that
We do.
and that are
We do.
very good people and that do actually follow the proper teachings of the Quran.
Yep. Sure enough, one of them is actually from West Africa.
Yeah. We
And,
used to,
But the guy I believe up in Michigan, if that is the correct state I'm thinking of, the congressman you're referring to, I don't believe that
I know he's a
is-
Democrat. Anyway,
I don't believe he's necessarily a Muslim. I think he's actually Nation of Islam, which is a little different. It's the Americanized version
it's kind of like that,
Islam.
that Malcolm X.
Yes.
Oh, it is.
Islamic
exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know all about that. What is
Yeah,
it?
Louis-
Shalom and Lakem or
Farrakhan
something.
Proffit and actually your buddy Prophet Yahweh.
Oh, yeah. We can't
I believe
forget Prophet
studied
Yahweh.
with Louis
That's
Farrakhan for a period of time
That's
before
true.
converting to Judaism.
Yeah,
That's
you
true.
remember when we tried to get
Well,
Prophet
no, I mean,
Yahweh to call the UFOs down in Kernersville?
He said he could do it, but he couldn't do
It was stormy,
Yeah.
and then we're like, "Hey, look, it's cleared up," and he's like, "Well, I just can't do it."
Well, maybe he has to be there, And he was
He said he
lost
didn't
it.
have to be there.
He didn't
Oh,
have his
that's right.
charger plugged in, man. He
Well,
forgot.
I don't know. If I could summon UFOs, I mean, I wouldn't kind of test them. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think it's a weather balloon.
I think that he knows the schedule, or has at least observed the schedule of one of the local air bases there that they do testing. And
perhaps.
Who knows? Who knows?
As far as that guy at the airport, Scott, I mean, I would either say he's a Sikh or he is someone from Southeast Africa. I would say the Mozambique area, Zanzibar, someplace like that. That's just my completely
Professional opinion.
professional opinion. But it is kind of strange, though. That's pretty interesting.
it's a hell of a greeting too, man. I mean,
I wish I had seen that.
877 scare you too. Somebody's talking in the chat room. Apparently, I
I
just
see
can't
that,
see what
yeah.
they're saying.
Yeah.
877 scare you too. You guys in the chat room, call us.
Call.
Give us a call. Anyway.
Yeah, well, so basically, you had a reading.
I had a reading.
I
yeah.
think maybe
You need to get a reading.
I know I would like to, but I mean,
Don't
we're
tell her
invest-
anything.
No, I'm not going to say a
All
word.
right.
I want to,
We
but
get Chuck to get a reading too. We're going to let him learn to remote view.
oh yeah, that's true.
That's going to be awesome.
That is going to be really.
See,
cool.
we let the heretic try everything on the show. That way, we
Yeah.
know that we're not
if
going to
it's
be messing with
demonically
demonic.
possessed, yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
We're going to let
Scott's-
him try it.
Yeah.
He's our demonic guinea pig, Chuck Browder.
Oh man.
So I would like to do
Our
that,
Irish
but-
Jesus. Yeah, we're never getting on TBN with
Yeah.
that kind of attitude, are we?
Seamus of Horowitz, wasn't that it, Scott?
What?
From Tiki Bar?
Tiki Bar?
Seamus of Horowitz.
Seamus O'Rourke. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
Irish.
The,
Yeah, TikiBarTV.com.
Yeah,
That's some
why don't we
funny
plug
stuff.
those guys?
Oh man, that's
some
some
good
funny
stuff.
You know, they're up on. I think it's Libsyn.
Really?
Yeah, the same people that we do our podcast through.
Uh-huh.
I think, and they were up like really, really high.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's
people-
because that out of court settlement drink.
dude,
and Red
that's
October.
a good. You know, back when I did drink, that
Yeah.
is a good drink. That is a good
That's
alcoholic
a
beverage.
fine drink.
And you know, you can drink 4 or 5 of those things, and it'll feel like you had an
Yep.
out of court settlement.
Yep.
Yeah,
What's in it?
Oh shoot.
I don't even. It's rye whiskey.
Half a lime.
There's a bunch of stuff in it.
I don't know.
I don't remember. We can show you. If you go to TikiBarTV.com, you'll see that.
There's a whole series of different
whole series
little
of
skits.
crazy stuff.
They're a lot
man.
of fun, and you learn.
They're just funny.
You learn about a new
new drink every
alcoholic drink each time. It's good stuff.
So was Doug on here with you guys?
Oh yeah, he was hanging out, kicking it sideways. You know.
Oh,
we
there's
got a call.
a caller. Yeah, I can't hear the caller, so go ahead.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Alan. I'm calling from Hortonville, Wisconsin.
Hey, Alan.
How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Okay, waiting for Scott. Okay, what's your question?
I missed the show last night, and I kind of came in late today, so I was just wondering what's the story with where you're investigating.
Oh, okay.
You mean the history?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you take that, Trent.
Okay, as best I could. Al Proffit obviously is the expert there, but this house at one time was the home place of the famous North Carolina author John Hardin, who wrote a series of books about North Carolina ghosts and folklore and stuff like that. One of them being Tar Heel Ghosts, and the other being the Devil's Tramping Ground. And for a number of years, he lived here, and he was a good researcher and a good historian. Now, this was his house for a number of years. One thing that happened, he had built an extension for his teenage sons to live here in the house. And apparently, one of them had caught that part of the house on fire. Not bad enough to burn down the building, but still, it was fairly destructive. Al had taken some photographs, and eventually we're going to put them on the website, demonstrating these weird, bizarre flame imagery and stuff like that. And today we had learned that not too long ago, a young boy had drowned in the lake a number of years ago. So it ties in with a sort of activity that we're investigating right now. Like I said, I wish Al were here. He could definitely. Is there anything else you would like to know? I mean,
anything interesting happened to you guys while you've been there? I know you were mentioning something about your boards going down, or.
Oh yeah. Well, there's been a number of
the VCR or the board.
The worst one, I think, is because it's the one that's the most physically there. Is the little level buttons on our board actually moved. And not once, but twice, at the beginning of the show and at the end of the show. And as if somebody had put their fingers on the buttons and moved them. Chuck saw it more directly. I saw it through the peripheral vision. It was totally freaky. And then the VCR cut on not too long ago. Al's alarm just went off for no apparent reason.
At midnight.
Right.
What the time that they were talking about going up there and setting up their equipment to investigate.
Where they are right now, more than likely. So, I mean, as far as like weird technical anomaly, that was going on. I believe they got Al got a Class C EVP down in the basement, which was a distinctive man's voice, but you couldn't really discern what he was saying. And our actual research with the sound equipment has, we haven't really got we haven't run it through all just yet.
Yeah, it has to be listened to in real time. So
right.
Yeah.
So we're still working on the sound and the pictures and video that we're recording. We'll have it posted up on the website eventually. So
awesome.
it was pretty strange. So far, so good. I mean, we definitely haven't been disappointed here at the Twin Lakes Lodge in Greensboro.
That's great, because I know so many times I go places, that's usually what ends up happening is you're disappointed.
Yeah.
But you get those few locations that, just seem to pop right along.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's one here in Wisconsin that's pretty unique like that.
Oh, yeah?
Where almost every time you go, something, well, not just something, a lot of things happen, yeah.
What kind of place is it?
What is it?
It's a historic hotel in Kewanee along Lake Michigan. It's called the Karsten Inn.
Uh-huh.
It's believed to be haunted by the original owners, his children, and one of the live-in housekeepers. And it's a pretty eventful place. I've gone there 3 times, and all 3 times we've had some pretty unique experiences there. So.
Oh, very cool.
What kind of stuff has happened?
Probably some of the weirdest stuff on the second floor. As we were walking down the hallways, each room that we passed, the clock radio would turn on in that room as we passed.
Weird.
The room.
Yeah, that's pretty disturbing, actually. If you,
especially considering what just happened here. That's,
exactly.
That's crazy.
I always make it a habit to mark equipment with tape on the floor or wherever I set it, so I know where I put it, because I've run into that where I swear to God something's been moved, but I couldn't exactly remember where I put it.
But if you mark it, you know for sure.
We had a tape recording unit sitting on the floor, on the second floor. There's a lot of activity up there that you have going on around you, no matter where you are on the second floor. Always right around the corner from wherever you are, you hear doors opening and closing. Not real loud, more like just the clicking when a door latches.
Mm-hmm.
But I went up to check the tape to make sure that it hadn't expired yet, and I noticed the tape recorder was about 30 feet from where we had the tape set up where it originally was, and I quick rewound the tape about 5 minutes, and right before the tape had stopped, you hear these footsteps come running up to the tape recorder, and you hear a man yell, "Shut up!" And then there's this loud crash.
Wow.
And the tape recorder had actually moved. We've had a couple EMF meters get destroyed there. It was really weird. We had two of them
So
that
it yelled, "Shut up"?
Yeah, it yelled, "Shut up."
Wow.
Demons.
And then there was a loud
Tell you, man,
crash.
demonic.
Maybe. And this is the Karsten Inn? Is that what it was?
Yeah, the Karsten Inn.
Wow.
It's in Kewanee, Wisconsin.
Huh.
And they're real open to ghost hunters. As a matter of fact, the first night we went, we had the whole place to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
There was no staff. There was no guests. It was just us. We had 2 EMF meters get wrecked that night. They just stopped working.
Whoa.
And, of course, us being curious, we took them apart, and both the motherboards on the inside of the EMF meters were shattered.
Wait, physically shattered?
Physically shattered.
Good gosh.
They were like in 4 pieces, and the only reason you couldn't hear them rattling around is because they were screwed to these legs on the inside of the case. So
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was pretty intense, and I think probably the most remarkable thing was the maid's name is Aggie. And she's the most active as far as interacting with people.
Mm-hmm.
We were sitting down in the lobby, and we had shut one of the motion sensors off. We have remotes for them all. And the thing about these motion sensors is that if you disarm them with the remote, and they've been armed from, by actually physically arming it, you have to punch in a code. It'll beep for like 30 seconds after you try and disarm it with the remote.
Right.
And you've got so long before it goes off. Well, we had physically shut it off with, we went down there and actually shut it off on the unit, and we were all standing around taking a break. And somebody made the comment about Aggie disappointing us. Why don't you do something? Why don't you show us you're here?
Mm-hmm.
And not even 2 seconds from the time that he said that alarm started to scream. There's a panic button on that particular motion sensor, and it's like 210 decibels. And I thought maybe I hit the button in my pocket, so I went to disarm it, and when I went to disarm it, it started beeping, which means that somebody had physically walked up and armed or set off the panic alarm physically on the unit.
Wow.
So, and we tested that thing for about 3 days afterwards to see if we could duplicate that again.
Uh-huh.
And it never happened again.
That's something else. I mean, it really is.
But it's really an interesting place.
Mm-hmm. It sounds it. Doug probably knows about it, but I don't know where he is.
I don't know.
He's probably out there with an alien somewhere.
We haven't heard from him in a while.
I know, seriously.
Really?
Ghost might have got him.
What's he doing? Is he out there with
I
John?
believe he's up there with John and Al.
I want to go up there. I haven't done any investigating with
I know.
John.
Nobody. Well, yeah, I have.
You have. I haven't.
So,
Huh?
We'll definitely put up the information we find tonight here at the Twin Lakes, and we'll put it up.
Yeah, we got some EVPs we'll probably be putting up too later.
It's very cool stuff.
It'll probably be on the GT side as
I
well.
look forward to checking it out.
Absolutely. So just keep informed. We'll have it up online pretty soon.
Okay. Well, now that I know you're there, I'll check it out often.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for calling, man. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Anytime.
Have a good night.
All right,
Wow.
finally, somebody called.
Man, Karsten.
Is that the only call we've had tonight?
Yeah. Well, it's all right.
All right. Well, he gets the silver star tonight. The gold star, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the gold star. It's gold silver, and blue.
Well, now it's time for our ads. Gold, invest in gold.
And gold is golden.
Hawking that World Trade Center coin that has
Oh my
the
God,
flip
the
up
stand-up towers.
Yeah.
What kind of crap is that?
I shouldn't have even
Yeah.
mentioned it for the publicity, the little bit that we're giving them now.
Yeah, I know. Right? Oh my God.
As if they need it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And you know people are buying those by the truck.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Some little redneck guy.
Limit 10.
Yeah, and they're buying 10.
They're limiting
He is.
it, yeah.
And then he's like, hey, I'm going to beat the system, and I'm going to order this at my mother-in-law's address. I mean, you know.
And
you know
that
what's
way I
happening.
can order 10
20.
more.
Yeah, I can order 20.
Wow.
And he's
well, it's
bragging
Christmas.
about cheating them to his friends.
Yeah, it's Christmas, you know,
Yeah.
giving them away. What a fine gift to give.
I don't know if these are being claimed to contain gold from the actual World Trade Center
Yeah,
site.
wasn't there another?
The other one actually
they
came
found
out
it to be a
after
fraud
it.
or
Yeah,
something?
it was fraudulent. I think that there was a class action lawsuit
There should have
against
been.
them.
Well, I mean, I imagine that any kind of material. I wonder if anything like that, the silver, the gold, whatever. I mean, if it would be used silver and gold. You know, Burl Ives. I don't know.
No,
where
I
that
like
came from.
those old Christmas movies. They're fun.
I was
man.
talking about silver and gold, Scott, and now
I
we're
know.
talking about Christmas movies.
Well, you know, they did
You
little
know.
silver and gold songs like
Burl
like,
Ives.
Yeah, well, it was like Rudolph and the Snowman and
I like that one with a
The
Kubla.
claymation one? Is that the one you're
yeah,
talking
man. You know,
The
made in
20
the like 50s or something.
The 23 Days of Christmas, and it had Mr. Freezemeister and Mr. Heatmeister and
Yeah,
Kubla
yeah,
Kraus.
yeah.
I don't know where that one is because that was my favorite. It was so bizarre. It was Kubla Kraus, and they had kidnapped Santa Claus, and it was really
That's
weird.
that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
But it was musical in the vein of Rudolph. What in the world did we steer this thing to?
It was. We were talking about the
Christmas show.
It was Chuck's.
Yeah.
It's Chuck's fault because he was
Well,
talking about the towers.
Well, he's talking about silver and gold, and that's basically where we went off to. But gosh, we have to steer this thing where it goes, and the actual investigating is actually going out there. I don't want to hook up a cell phone to the hybrid or anything. I might disturb whatever.
It might
whatever they
start
find.
screwing with the electromagnetic fields or something.
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
possible. In a way, I would like it because then we could hear what they're doing. I imagine this is probably what they're doing. This is what we did last night when we went down to the basement. John, Doug, and myself went down there, and then we set up the recording equipment.
You asked questions.
And it was a Q&A thing. It was 1 tap for yes, 2 taps for no.
Did you
And,
see that tape that Al Proffit had?
No.
The video?
I haven't seen any of this stuff.
Oh man, you've got to see this. It's on his laptop.
But,
he's going to give us a copy so we can put it on our website. So guys, check that out. This is the wildest stuff. You can barely see it. You have to look real closely at it, but you can hear it. The audio is good, but you can see he had his night shot on, and he was in this old church, and he was sitting back behind the pulpit with the camera. And you know what I'm talking about. You saw it. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. Chuck. Oh my God, 2 Chucks. I should have remembered this. Chuck, our visitor here tonight, he saw it as well, along with the psychic intuitive. I can't remember her name either. Noel. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Christmas. Noel. I should remember
Noel,
these things.
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and the other lady that's here with her, Leslie. All right, now I've got everybody involved.
Hey, girl,
Well, we were
what a
all
way to
in
stay
there.
on the ball, Scott.
So Chuck, Noel, Leslie, and I were sitting in the kitchen while Doug was on here talking with you earlier, and we were watching this video that Al Proffit had made. And so he's in this old church, and he's sitting back in the back behind the pulpit with his camera on, with a night shot on. But since you know how night shot only projects so many feet in front of you, really,
Right.
then it gets kind of dark
So
after that.
is this in the cat's eye, the black and white?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Now, this door was on the other side of the room, the main door to come inside the church. And you have to look. I mean, you have to look because it's really dark. But he starts talking, Al does, to this thing. And all of a sudden, you see the door open by itself.
Oh, no.
And then Al's like, he's like, now this is the point where I felt a presence. And Al's like, asking it questions. And he's like, well, tap 1 time for yes, 2 for no. And he asks some questions, and you hear a distinct knock noise. And then he asks a series of different things and gets a series of responses. But then he's like, is this your normal place that you stay? And it raps, yes. And he said, would you like me to leave? And then it's like, yes. And he's like, what's so funny is like right after it said, would you like me to leave? It's a really loud rap one time. And he packs his stuff up so quick, dude. Is
Is that part in the video too?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like, but he gets back. He's like, "Thank you for allowing me." To, it's great. But we'll try to. And I'm not saying that, that Al's basically.
Yeah.
That. I'd have ran a lot faster than Al did. But
I don't think I would even bother to pack up the equipment. It's like,
the camera had still been in there. Yeah.
Gonna leave. That's really crazy though. But I mean, anyway, but we're gonna have all of the information that we got, the recordings and the anything that's juicy. All right, there, Scott.
Yeah, acid reflux is killing me.
Oh my gosh, it's pizza, man.
I know it's pizza.
Yeah, pizza's bad for you.
Yeah,
Part of my
pepperoni
great
on
diet.
it, man.
Don't buy pizza.
Yeah, well that too, and I haven't been taking my medicine. For it.
Gotcha.
It's such a crazy night. None of us have been taking our medicine.
That's right.
I haven't been taking my antidepressants, and
Oh, Lord.
Chuck hasn't been taking his
marijuana.
His special green medicine. Do I make a cigarette out of this, or do I make a rope?
He hadn't been smoking his funny cigarettes tonight. Not that we would imply that Chuck would do anything.
No,
like that.
absolutely not. Chuck is
We all know
sober
he's
as
a
a
law-abiding,
Of
person,
course.
citizen.
Yes.
Anyway, but like I said, no, we're going to get that video from Al. He already told me that he would allow us to put it on the site.
I'm sure it would be
And
awesome.
I don't know how to do exactly how to capture the Windows Media stuff, but I can maybe get Doug to help me with that.
Yeah.
And give us a way to put it up on or YouTube link or something. But
Right.
you've just got it. You guys have got to see this because it is just amazing.
Are we gonna get some of those pictures too from here?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Oh,
we
yeah,
will.
well, I mean,
that would
ADPs.
be awesome.
We'll just
You
put
know,
up a separate page for all the stuff we did.
for
It'll be a lot
our
of fun.
nights of the Twin.
Yeah, the Twin
Lakes.
Lakes Lodge. And, there's another thing that, John Zaffis and I was talking about earlier today. I don't know if you guys, how much of it you heard. I think Trent was around. We're talking about putting together a convention maybe with John and some other
maybe
people.
so.
I think it'd be a lot
Wow.
of fun,
Oh,
and,
yeah, it would be.
Doug said he might be interested in doing something with us on that. And, we've got to go up to Michigan and see those guys sometime. We'll have to wait until it's summertime because
what part do they
wusses.
broadcast out of?
Detroit, yo.
Oh,
8 Mile.
Oh, 8 Mile. That's right. That's right.
Get one shot. Cannot get your chance. Opportunity knocks once in a lifetime. You better move. And the music. I don't know. You listen to the rap, man.
Oh yeah, man.
Actually,
I'm
I saw
down.
it.
I'm down with it.
I saw 8 Mile. It was a
Yeah,
good film.
Chuck's the kind of white guy that listens to rap that locks his car
I-
doors when groups of black people come up that look at
Like
him.
that guy from- like that guy
the
from
Office
Office
Space.
Space,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can see Chuck now. He turns
See,
it
I
down,
don't listen to rap. You see how
rolls
crappy
his
I am.
window up and locks the door.
No, 8 Mile was a good film, man. It was like
It was.
Footloose or The Karate
No,
Kid.
I
for
liked it. I liked the film. Yeah, I'm not a big
Inner City
Eminem
White
fan.
Youth.
I'm not a big Eminem fan, but it was a good movie.
Yes, it was just like Footloose.
Did you say Footloose?
Or The Karate Kid.
Yeah.
The Karate Kid was a classic.
Yeah.
Footloose kind of sucked.
To tell you the truth, I've never watched it all the way through. I know it's about religious fundamentalists though that don't let his child dance.
Well, when I was in Christian school when I was a kid, we used to have this music teacher. She was this old, really irritable lady, and I can't remember her name, but she was
just hurting inside, Scott.
she would play the piano, and we were like third, fourth graders, and she's like, "Now we don't dance. I know the play," because we'd do these little musicals and
Right,
stuff, right?
right.
'Cause we were kids in music class. We don't dance. I know the text says to dance, but we don't dance. We skip because dancing is immoral. I'm not kidding.
Does
I'm
she
not
talk
making-
like that?
Yes. I'm not making this
Wow,
up.
that's-
Dancing is immoral.
Because it's taking the horizontal mambo, or excuse
And
me,
making it
and
vertical.
Making it vertical,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, that can be done vertically as well. No, anyway, but the thing was that
Or
it's so
diagonally,
stupid. It's so stupid. You look back in the Bible. Daniel danced. A lot of the other people in the Bible danced. It says they danced.
Dancing and music is inherent and part of our human
Culture.
consciousness. To prevent dancing,
It's like thinking some fourth graders are going to sexually dirty dance or something. Give me
Yeah.
a break.
yeah.
That's a problem with America today. I'm going to jump back on this one more time.
Yeah.
Did you check this out? Check this out. Not too long ago, I don't know if I told you guys this. I might have mentioned it on the air last time, but there was a school teacher. This is just to show you guys how far liberalism has stretched its boundaries. The socialist elite that are turning this country into a communist country. You'll be happy, Trent.
No, because we got the decorations all wrong.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
just
Not
don't have-
enough red.
Well, and the posters they just aren't as dramatic and bold.
Well, here's the deal. So this little kid is going to the Dallas Museum. I think it's a Dallas Museum of Art. I think it's happened in Texas. And they go to this Museum of Art in Texas, and the child, by God, in an art museum in Texas, sees a naked statue.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so this lady, a veteran teacher, a teacher that had been teaching for a number of years in the school.
Did she throw herself hysterically on it to save the children?
She was fired from her job as a school teacher in the public school because of the complaint from the parents that their child saw a naked statue in an art museum in the city.
Now, you think that this is a product of liberalism?
Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't sound... No, that sounds very...
That sounds like John Ashcroft.
This is so...
You know, yeah, he's the one that kind of covered the breast on the statues.
Of the political correct crowd that you can't... It's a part of the disease of liberalism in America today.
Well, I mean, maybe in that respect, I don't really have much to say about PC.
I mean, I like naked women.
Don't we all?
I was going to say, if you guys can't answer that question pretty quick, I don't know where we're going here. I'm going to throw y'all in the bandwagon with the other homosexuals.
All right, Vernon. Let's just knock it off. But I mean, that's really too bad.
I don't hate the homosexuals. You know, you love the sinner, hate the sin. Like I said, there's only two things in this life.
I'm sure you love some hot girl-on-girl action, though, man.
I don't. You know, I never got into that.
Really?
Never got into that. And you know why I never got into that?
Why is that?
Because every man that gets into that, their idea is that they can participate. When in reality, if the two girls are really lesbians, the last thing they want is your toy in the party.
Yeah.
Well, if they're just two co-eds at Lake Havasu, man. You know, where they shoot all those Girls Gone Wild videos?
I've got some stories about that. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I don't think that's really
We're
appropriate.
drifting towards oblivion here.
Yeah. Great oblivion. But I mean...
And we've still got an hour to go.
Seriously. I mean, maybe we should... Okay, look. I think we should call a break. Let's see what they're doing up there.
Yeah,
because I'm really, really, really want to see... I want to know what they're doing.
You want to wait another 10 minutes and take it to the top of the hour?
Okay, if we don't talk about PC or liberal stuff and actually talk about ghosts and stuff.
Okay.
That's my...
You know what would really help you know, just to avoid that topic or that area is if we had a caller call in.
Yeah.
You know,
That's good.
We could shoot the bull with them.
You're following. You're getting along with this pretty well. You know. It works. Wow. You've learned much.
Guys in the chat room like, dude, I'm not calling in again.
Yeah, you've learned much.
877 scare you two.
Please queep. Yeah,
Please queep. Please queep.
I was speaking some
It's
Basque
late
there.
here on the East Coast.
Yeah. No,
Was that Dutch?
Yeah, no, it might have been Basque a little bit. Weirdly enough. But keep Scott from getting on another diatribe about whatever, about who knows what.
I've been missing out the whole
I know. Well,
so I had to pack it all into one powerful punch.
Well, it wasn't.
I did.
We feel
I think you did that last night, man.
I did, man. I
have no idea
totally
what you said,
man,
Scott.
I don't remember what I said. I was running a fever last night too. I was kind of sick, you know.
So what you do? You're gonna blame it on some
know.
kind
You know, maybe I was really truthful.
Fever-induced hallucination.
Yeah, maybe I was really truthful. More so, you know, like Mel Gibson. I was drunk. I didn't remember being anti-Semitic.
Or Michael
right.
Richards.
Yeah.
Michael. Oh, don't. Okay, you got me started now. All right.
No.
Michael, no. We're going there.
No, I don't.
We're going there.
I got the board. Every talk show in the country has talked about him.
Wait a minute. Let me just say this, and I'm not going to say
seriously.
anything bad. All I'm going to say is this. Do you know that he has agreed to make money damages, to pay these people money after and give them a personal apology?
Well, which is crazy because they don't have a case.
I know they don't. There's
really
nothing. I mean, the only thing I can think
all
of
for PR, so
going to law school, the only thing I can think of that they would have a case for is IIED, which stands for intentional infliction of emotional distress, which is very hard to prove.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else they're going to try to sue under, but the point is they don't have a case. He's doing it for PR purposes.
Maybe
obviously.
defamation. I have no idea.
That wouldn't fit.
No,
it wouldn't fit. But you know, I don't know what they're. But he's going to pay them. You know what this says? Another liberal agenda. But you know what this says. You know what this says. This is saying because you called me a name, I want to sue you. Because you called me a name, I want to sue you. And don't get me wrong.
He did a little more than that. He had a hysterical breakdown.
Well, what he did was wrong. And yeah, he should apologize.
Oh, absolutely.
But paying them
No, I agree with you, Scott.
Okay, I agree. I agree. Okay,
fine.
he should refund
Scott,
the price of the ticket.
Right, that's true.
Right?
Scott, you're a jerk.
Which they did that night.
Now you need to pay me.
I'm suing you.
Oh,
No,
wait
you
a
call
minute.
me the jerk.
God, crap.
$20 right now.
I don't work out at all. Scott, you're supposed to call me.
And the real reason they're suing him is because he's famous. If they saw Chuck and Chuck did that, they would probably just beat him up. I don't know. Like those guys with the car. I'm not going to talk about that.
No.
The key thing? No, never mind. I'm not going to talk about that.
No. Okay,
Chuck,
I can't.
I'm not going to talk about it.
What is
Come
it?
on, can I tell the story, Chuck? It's funny.
There's nothing funny at all about
It
it.
was very funny, man. You can tell it. It's already been taken care of now, right?
I'd rather not, man.
Okay, we won't talk about
Okay.
Chuck's personal
It's
life.
TMI.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well,
we'll talk about it off
yeah,
the air.
we'll talk about it off the air.
It's funny. It's a good story. Chuck just got vicious.
And-
it wasn't racial. No, it
okay,
wasn't racial
okay.
at all. But
All
Chuck
right.
just got vicious on somebody.
Someone witnessing it thought it was.
Thought it was racial, but it
and,
wasn't.
And said,
Yeah.
called me, I guess, appropriate names if that had been the case.
Right, but it was totally out of context.
Yeah,
right?
they took it out of context. It
Well,
wasn't
that
racial.
happens a lot.
Chuck is like the most non-racist guy I know,
So
other than Trent.
that's true.
You know, communists, they can't be.
Yeah,
racist.
That's
no,
right.
we're
It's
against,
all for the worker.
we're against class
That's right.
distinction, not racial distinction.
That's
you
right.
know.
Class distinction.
I'm not
Poor,
really-
there's poor and rich, and they love the poor.
Yeah, well, we want to cast the rich down from their ivory towers.
That's
and
right. Wait a minute. I
shatter
thought that
them.
was Marxism. That's all the same thing.
Marxism, Leninism. It's
Communism,
complicated.
Marxism,
I'm not
socialism.
a communist, Scott. I
It's all
just
the
wear
same.
a shirt like that on the website, and even then, it's a joke. Yeah. Well, no, I mean seriously.
No.
I mean, well, it was made in Poland. Incidentally, that's the story of the shirt. It was a linen shirt made in Poland, and they thought the joke, of course, is that Lenin was against free markets and distribution of
And so
wealth.
they're
They're going to make
free
this
market
shirt
is shirt.
and sell it. And that in and of
How
itself.
much did you get that for?
$45.
No. It was
They're really making a joke now.
it was roughly about the equivalent of $10. I believe it was something like 18 kopecks or something like that.
What's really
Not
funny is a
kopecks.
lot of people that don't
Rubles?
know.
No, rubles
No.
are Russian. I mean, I think it was kopecks. No, it's not kopecks. Shoot, I can't believe
What's really
I don't
funny is
know
a
this.
lot of people that don't know Lenin is they'll see that shirt and they'll think it's KFC.
Oh
shirt.
my gosh, you know seriously.
And go to our website, worldtheunexplained.com, click on the hosts button, and you'll scroll down the middle. You'll see Trent in his shirt, the red linen shirt.
And if you
don't
don't
know, you'll think it was a KFC shirt.
I've actually had people
the
come up
Colonel.
to me and say, "Why do you have the Colonel Sanders on your shirt?"
It's like, that's
'cause
not
they have
Colonel Sanders, moron.
No, but you don't say that because I mean, if they don't guess who it is, you might as well.
Because I
just-
like the chicken and biscuits.
Yeah, I mean, what do you say to that? But anyway, that's a long story, and it basically is a long-running and very interesting joke as far as I'm concerned. Now, what's the time? I mean, I
We got
can't
4
see.
minutes.
Really? Okay. Okay, just to clue, cue people in. We got Doug from Ghostly Talk, John Zaffis, the John Zaffis, Al.
One and only.
Yep, Al Proffit. We've got
You got me
me and
me.
Scott
and Chuck.
and Chuck
and other Chuck.
and the other Chuck.
And Noel and Leslie.
And Noel and Leslie, who have just arrived tonight, and they are investigating as we speak the flame room, as I like to call it, the room in which Al Proffit had taken some photographs earlier and had encountered some very strange photographic phenomenon.
Now, did John tell you what happened in his room the other night?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Well, for the listeners who may just tune in,
Go ahead.
well, basically, I mean, he started getting the raps. Basically, the one tap, the two tap, Q&A thing.
Wait, this happened last night?
Yeah, I was trying
when,
to sleep.
Yeah, when John was trying to sleep.
He finally just like, knock it off. I'm trying to sleep.
About 3 a.m, and eventually he actually moved to another part of the room, and the taps had moved with him. In the sense that he's on one side of the bed, and the taps would happen on the far wall. So then he switches his position in the room, and then the taps would happen still on the far wall in relation to him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's how, which was kind of bizarre. They weren't stationary. They moved in relation to John. And eventually, yeah, he did say, knock it off, I'm trying to sleep. And
it stopped.
Yeah, it's weird.
John commands the paranormal.
Maybe,
I know.
maybe
Well,
it
I
really
mean-
is a ghost of a child then.
Yeah,
that would
that's-
support the evidence.
That's
yeah.
basically what the running theory is, guys, is that
Demon.
A demon. He
Telling
already
you.
said
Yeah.
it ain't. It's not a demon.
yeah,
It's a demon.
that it could possibly be the ghost of a child.
Could be a demon.
Now,
Demon child.
Well,
Demon child. Damien. Dun-dun-dun.
that song just cracks me up.
Yeah, Damien. Sabotage.
What was really weird is that not too long ago,
80s hair metal.
a couple of years ago, a child had actually drowned in.
Wait, the lake?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
that must have been before
basically,
you got here.
Anita, who runs the place and does a spectacular job of it, by the way, actually called around and confirmed this story.
What, do you know what year?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the details, but essentially, I mean, our Q&A sessions last night sort of steered the questioning away, towards the lake and, the lake in relation to the entity itself, which is kind of bizarre because it just went that way. Yeah. And, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, I guess, in one way, but in the other way, it's definitely something has been going on here at the Twin Lakes Lodge tonight.
Something evil this way comes.
Well, it's not evil. Man, you and
Ray
evil.
Bradbury, man, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true.
All
He's a
right,
great
well, guys,
author.
we're going to have to take a break, and we're going to be back in a little bit. We're going to go check in on those guys and see what wild and crazy guys they are.
So anyway, no more diatribes. We're going to get back to the meat of the matter. So the heart of the topic, as it were, the crux
my
of
ointment.
the argument. Yeah, that's true.
And we're back. World of the Unexplained. Some really strange things were happening during our break.
Indeed.
Apparently, Trent released something. Isn't it nice of him? It's your fault, man.
Release something paranormal, Scott.
No, it said something came out and apparently was bad. You had John Zaffis upset. Not
I know,
upset,
yeah,
but nervous.
When John Zaffis gets nervous or upset about something,
We should be nervous.
Yeah, because he deals with a lot of the darker elements of the paranormal world.
Oh yeah.
Basically, what we walked into, Noel was up there performing a reading, or no?
I don't know what was going on. He said when you walked in to check on him or whatever, then that's what something was released. Then I walked in, I was like, what's going on? And he came out and said,
there
well,
was a lot
something,
of tension or something like that was happening.
Yeah, and they were basically, I heard Doug saying, we don't want you here anymore. Get out. Don't mess, you're not going to follow anybody home tonight that's here. And this, that,
Are
and
you
the other.
serious?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Are you serious?
Yeah, if they follow anybody, hopefully it's you or the heretic here. But, yeah, that's what was going on there. Seeing how they like you a lot, Trent, and it popped in when you came in. Maybe.
Well, I think that was actually the words he used. He said something popped up, and the question I immediately asked was, on what? Was it on some of their equipment?
I don't know if it was EVP. I don't know what it is.
Gosh, we're just...
And that's it. We're sitting here. We don't know anything that's going on right now.
Man.
And they're supposed to come back down and tell us sometime soon, but we don't know. Something is obviously happening that's very, very strange indeed right now, and we don't know what it is.
That's making me a little nervous. Actually.
Yeah.
Not like there hasn't been a number of bizarre occurrences.
Weird things
here anyway.
going on, yeah.
But once again, with a board, with a VCR, with Al's alarm,
Chuck's road rage. Sorry, I'm not going to mention that again on the air.
TMI.
Yeah.
Hey, I can put letters together too and say they mean things.
BTO, GTR,
Pachman Turner
WTH, X.
BBR, Black Book Romance.
Anyway, but seriously, there's
CCR, Creedence
I know
Clearwater Revival.
We're being pretty light and flippant about this, but
it's
to be honest
serious.
with you, we don't know exactly what happened, and
frankly, I'm glad we're in the other room.
Well, John definitely seemed pretty freaked out when he came out with you.
Yeah, and John has been dealing. How many exorcisms has he been involved in?
More than I'm at liberty to say.
All of the number of really kind of scary crap that he's been involved with, and when you see him a little bit shaking about stuff, then maybe there's you need to pay attention to it, and hopefully whatever it is that's going on up there, things are they got it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hopefully they got that under control there.
So, apart from the whatever the actual reading itself and the other supernatural things originally that we were talking about with the Twin Lakes Lodge here in Greensboro, North Carolina, And the the
What did you
supernatural-
do,
Here he
Trent?
comes.
All right. So what did Trent do, John?
Nothing.
It's your fault, Trent.
No. It was when they walked into the room is what I actually meant.
What do you
I
mean?
didn't see him. I looked at him and I saw him. It was just a circumstance of events.
Okay, can you sit in front of a mic? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You mind?
Yeah, hold on. Just here.
Let's not even. Let's
You don't wanna do that?
go there. Go ahead. No, let it go.
Okay. Do what?
I just want to let it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're gonna not talk about it anymore. Then apparently, John doesn't want to talk about it, so we're not gonna talk about it.
Anything else?
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. That's right.
But anything else? I mean, as far as like the other supernatural stuff.
Anything going on that you
could
could tell us?
I feel some of the things Noel picked up on were extremely accurate with the property. I feel some of the things that came through, it's going to be important for Dr. Al to check into it to see if some of this does relate with the property.
Uh-huh.
And I feel that there are several things that I felt were significant. I will say that. Definitely significant.
So several things that were definitely significant
with the property.
with the property.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we'd love to like have Noel come down here and talk about it if she wants to. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, don't stop her from
Yeah,
whatever's
we don't
going on.
want to
I
take.
mean, you know, just
Hey, yo, medium. That's
Said no, she's a large.
oh God. And so is everyone in radio. Let me assure you.
Caught on to me fast today. I'm all
okay.
I'll get up, man. All
All right, Chuck.
All right.
We are finally getting to talk here.
We're gonna
on
bring in the intuitive Noel, who did my reading earlier tonight.
Oh.
Okay, we're not going to go into anything about something, but that's okay. So, what can you tell us about what's been going on here, Noel?
Gee, what do you want to know about what's been going on around here? There are different energies here.
Are they good?
For the most part, yes.
So there's some evil, is what you're saying.
I don't know if I would use the word evil. That's a pretty strong word and not a word that I'm familiar with in my vocabulary. It's something that I stay away from.
Oh.
I'm uncomfortable with that, and it scares me.
Okay.
What is that?
I don't know.
What was what?
Are they taking pictures?
Yes.
Oh. Oh my gosh. We saw like a number of weird flashes outside on the other side of the house. Wow. Okay. Go on.
Okay. So what do you feel has happened here at this location?
Okay, I do know that there was a prank that got out of hand, an investigation that got out of hand with a male, a young man, and what he started as far as flame got out of hand from him and progressed from there. I know he was in trouble from that, and he was unfortunate in having caused that. I know there's a female energy here that watches, waits, and protects. This is her role. This is where she wants to be, and it's also where she's caught. It's not my business. It's not my mission. It's not my responsibility, and I particularly don't believe in helping people move on because I'm not wise enough or in the position to decide where they would move on to. I don't think any of us are. I just recognize who are here and try to hear what they say to me.
Okay. How is this place compared to some of the other places you've investigated over the years?
I think this place was pretty active.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being Amityville, 1 being
It's a 15, Scott. It's a 15.
One being like I don't know the Circle K on 4th. What would you give it?
I'd give this one a 7 or 8.
Wow.
At times, I would bump that up even a little higher. You have to understand that's my perspective too. I rarely go to places where I feel nothing. I mean, it's not where I go into places and say, "Oh, zip, no, nothing here." Where if I can be validated in all the places I go to, no. Do I get impressions in most of the places I go to? Yes. So that's kind of up for grabs on your faith or belief level. too. But I don't feel the need to defend myself. I've lived with this all my life, so I just kind of accept it.
So when did you notice that you first had this gift for this kind of intuitive thing?
With communicating with people who've crossed the threshold, I don't know if I identified really who they were or what they were until I was, probably past 5 or 6. When did I first know I had intuitive ability? Very early on. I knew when I was going to get in trouble for something, and you can say, okay, everybody has that, but I could actually name to myself or the time frame or the day or what and how it was going to take place. And I've lived with this very early on. There was no pop quiz for me in any time during my school years. I knew the night before or the day of, and the wiggling process that ensued trying to get out of going to school or out of that class, that's pretty much how I handled it. I knew every test I took and still do if I'm going to pass or fail.
Wow. Well, you would hope you would, be able to predict the answers on that. We'll speak later. I've got a test I need you to crack for me. Anyway, going right along, though.
Well, I had a significant experience 2 semesters ago. Science is not my forte. I'm a humanities and literature history major, and I was stuck in environmental biology because I had to have it. And I made, B's on the test, 1C, and I got this feeling in the break room, I'm going to ace this. Went in, started checking off the answers, thinking, I don't even know the answers to this, but here, I'm going to check this one, and I got an A. And I knew 2/3 of the way through with a definite feeling that it was just going to come to me. It was random. I was just checking the right answers without knowing they were the right answers because, it was kind of boring.
Now, would this? I'm assuming this wouldn't have worked with like a fill in the blank type of situation.
I don't think so. It was multiple choice.
Yeah.
Huh.
Weird.
Fun.
Yeah.
Lucky. But I get negativity a lot. I try not to peek into people's feelings when I'm standing beside them, and I don't always get their feelings, but I can definitely identify negativity. If I'm around someone who just doesn't like me, doesn't like what I do, or is out to shoot me down.
She looked at me. She looked at me.
I can pick that up very well. And sometimes it's annoying. I can be very annoying because I'm like, you don't like me. I know you don't like me. Come on, fess up, you don't like me.
I like you fine.
No, not to you, but I've come across people like this.
I'm sure. And there are a lot of skeptical people out there.
Yeah, but that's beyond skepticism.
Now, John, I don't like him very much, but
what would you like me to tell you about some of my experiences?
Sure.
Absolutely.
I was estranged from my mother for 10 years because of different abuses, in my life, and just decided to cut this in order to survive. I got the impression from my mother that she was seriously ill and she was dying, and she died 2 days later. And it came in a haunting motion to me. I had no contact and still don't with any of my family, but the message was, I'm dead, I'm gone, go to the computer, look it up. And I ignored it. I ignored it for 4.5 months. Finally, I could take the voice no longer. I was like, oh, geez, okay, I'll look it up. And she had died that day that I got the message.
Wow.
And then the voice went away.
Does that ever scare you?
No, but I do startle easy because I am human. And, when I walk across the floor and somebody appears to me, I'm like, whoa, because I didn't expect that. And they are in a different realm than we are. So I am able to startle and scare, yet I know they don't hurt me.
So would you consider yourself a Christian or
Oh, I'm Buddhist.
You're Buddhist?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Isn't Buddhism like one of those selfish religions?
Scott.
I know it's not the religion of peace, like Islam.
It's less of a religion, more of a practice.
Yeah, and more of like a self-fulfillment.
The middle path.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little fat man with
I get that a lot.
bald head.
The little short fat guy.
Yeah.
And I could respond in kind, but I choose not to.
I'm a tall fat guy, all right?
I meant about other images from other religions, but I choose not to go to that level.
Yeah, don't pull the guy on the stick thing. That just pisses me off, all right?
No, I wouldn't even consider that, and I have a great respect for Christ. And
Let
a
me
very
guess, you think he
personal.
was a wonderful teacher.
No, actually,
okay.
I have a very personal relationship with him. I
Okay.
just don't think that it excludes other religious figures. That's where I differ with Christianity. But Buddhism is self-awareness and awareness to what you propagate in the world and what you do unto others. They share some common themes.
Yeah, Christianity and Buddhism, they honestly do on a number of theological levels. What is it called? Nestorian Christianity in Central Asia was really popular back in the Middle Ages, and they combined elements of Buddhism and Christianity. And to my knowledge, it's still practiced in certain areas.
Oh, well,
of that realm.
there's an American movement for Zen Catholicism.
Oh, wonderful. Zen Catholicism. It's kind of like the gay rabbis, right? We were talking about earlier. You remember that, guys? Gay rabbis?
Nah, we usually tune those little diatribes
or the congressman that's swearing on the Koran. Come on. Where are we going here?
So anyway, as far as your images go, Noel, I mean, are they impressionistic? I mean, do you see pictures or do you get feelings? I mean, how does it work?
I get all in varied forms. I get thought impressions. I get mental pictures. I am Clara Audio. I get songs, which is a real pity because I cannot sing. And when I try to give these songs to people, it's just terrible. They're like, okay, I get it.
Stop now.
And I get odors and smells.
Really?
And I will get different temperature sensations. And I also...
Let me ask you a question. Let me take you back for a second. You said you get odors and smells. Now, I have heard that a lot of times when one is in the presence of an evil entity, that there will be a very rancid smell that accompanies that area. Do you find that to be true with your past experience?
I'm not in the presence of evil entities often.
No, I'm saying when you have been, or if you have been,
or unpleasant smells.
Yeah.
Okay, the unpleasant smells that I picked up were at a historical site, and I knew that someone had been wounded and had been bandaged there, and I could smell the rot of the infection.
Oh, okay.
Ugh.
I can
Thanks
smell,
for that question, Scott. Right?
Yeah.
Smell pleasant odors, smell perfumes, smell florals, smell sulfur. And usually it's associated with the activity there. I mean, I'm not smelling sulfur because Satan's manifesting. I'm smelling sulfur because there was a gunfire or something of that nature.
Or cannons or something like that, right?
Yeah, but that would be a little extreme. I mean, the mind is a powerful thing. If I'm standing in a battlefield and I'm smelling sulfur and there are cannons around, duh.
Yeah.
But when I go into a cold read where I have no information on the house and I can pick up the smell of gunfire as well as the sound, or I can pick up the blood spatter and the expiration of the person because of the impact, and I also get sulfur, then I can put that together as gunshot. And then when I'm validated with that, then that helps me learn.
That's interesting. Very interesting. The smells that are associated with different times. I mean, it's pictures, images, all kinds of different things that you learn from a variety of sources. Kind of like the five senses.
Yeah, I certainly do. And when I was visiting one of the Civil War forts in North Carolina at the coast, I was down in one of the back rooms. I didn't have a guide. I've never had a guided tour. But I got the smell of dead bodies, and I actually got the lining up of how they stacked the bodies one on top of the other during the heat of the battle. And the smell was so profound that I had to exit and vomit, much to the dismay of my teenager, who was like, "People are looking at you." I'm like,
now,
sorry.
do any of your children have this gift that you possess?
I have two children. I have 5 children, and I have 2 children that do, and it's really kind of amusing. One of them is 30 and 6'5", about 240 pounds, and scared to death. He just doesn't want it, but he will relay some instances of his dreams or apparitions that he's seen. And then I have a 23-year-old who knows everything. He's the wisest.
We all do at 23.
The wisest man in the world, and he, when he gets something very honest and very quick, it alarms him. And when he's trying very hard, he tends to elaborate. He just hasn't learned how to reconcile what he's getting.
Do you think that this is something, this ability you have? Do you think it's something that we all possess and maybe just don't know how to tap into?
Yes, I do.
So do you think that this ability that we all possess may be accessible on the part of the brain that we normally don't use?
I don't know where in the brain that it stems from. There are a lot of theories out there. The pineal gland. There are theories as to head trauma, theories as to emotional trauma. There are a lot of theories out there. I think we're all capable of it. I think a lot of times people don't listen to it. They choose not to listen to it. It's frightening. It's against their religious belief. They think it's coincidence. They want to explain it away. But this has been around since the beginning of time, and it's really taken a beating since the age of technology because our society wants to prove everything.
Oh, yeah. Now, I will say this lady did give me a reading, and you know, I'm not a big into psychics. You guys know that. I like to mess with them generally. I do. I'm a jerk. So anyway, the point is though that she did do a reading. There were a number of things that she did find out that were very true, and something that she could not know. One was the fact that she described my grandmother. Trent, you knew my grandmother. You remember she had arthritis. Oh yeah. So her hands were deformed like this from the arthritis. They were and she mentioned this fact. It was very. I mean, she mentioned the fact that the hands, the knobbiness of the hands, and she kept describing the hands and doing like this with her hands, and that was very that was eerie, and the neck and the way that she bent over, that was very strange. And then she also told me that I was a sexual dynamo, which, of course, all the women know that is a true statement. So now, you know, I give this psychic a 10 because that's in line with what I was looking for in reading. But no. But then, you know, there were a lot of things that she was just getting vague images in here. And I will be honest and say that I do think that there was a lot that she couldn't get because she did say I was a hard read. And some people are just harder to tap than others. I will say she's much better than most that we've had, you know, on before. Obviously, you know, it happens. Say. Every now and then you meet a real one, you know. But there's just so many people out there. And I think, I think that's put a lot of people skeptical about you know, psychics. You know, they think it's a bad word. There are a lot of people skeptical because of the Miss Cleo and the 1-900 numbers.
Or mediums, too, for that matter.
Can you do it over the telephone, Chuck asked?
Yes, I have done it over the telephone, and I've done it across country.
Wow.
Over the telephone.
I would also say mediums, too, those who can communicate, you know, with the other world, but just because of all the sheer number of frauds that had gone on back in the day.
John's got something to say.
Oh, John, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He's looking at me. He's got this evil look.
If I remember correctly, you were explaining to me something about Miss Cleo with Jay Scott calling in all the time, asking for different types of readings. Can you share a little of that?
It was a sexual thing.
Sometimes Scott, you know, Jay would be crying. There'd be a little tear in his eye, and then he just needed the answers, and he just begged.
There was this one night we were in Asheville, North Carolina, and we were watching the Fish Channel on TV. They used to have this
cable access thing. It's nothing but
and we're bored
staring at this thing for.
So our buddy Craig went to sleep on us, and we got mad at him for going to sleep and not partying with us. So we decided to use his phone to call a psychic hotline. He really appreciated that the next month when the $90 phone bill arrived.
Yeah, well, you know.
But I'm like, you're psychic. Okay, tell me what I want. You know, they're like, a pickup truck. And I'm like, what do I want a pickup truck for, right? You know, I mean, they're just going on and on. They get like a supervisory type person on the phone, and he's trying to get, you know, it's like they're just shooting guesses now out back and forth.
Like, I remember you made a Jeopardy reference.
Yeah, I was like, all right, we're now entering the final round. We were having a great time. Everyone in North Carolina already owns a pickup. What are you talking about?
2 or 3 usually.
Exactly.
But anyway, that was really a lot of fun. But it kind of, you know.
If you've got a question for Noel, the psychic, the intuitive, which do you prefer?
I prefer intuitive.
All right, if you have a question for Noel, the intuitive, Noel, it's such a pretty name.
Thank you.
It's all Christmassy. I like it.
Yeah.
And we're getting in that time of year now.
Sure enough.
Anyway, for Noel, give us a call here, 877-SCARE-YOU2. Hopefully she won't scare you. She's scaring me, though. She said something's going to be wrong with my foot. So I'm logging this down now. If something's wrong with my foot, you guys are going to know about it first. And I'm going to be cursing her name at that point in time. But that's okay. Noel, you know, it's going to be bad. No, I'm kidding. But 877-SCARE-YOU2, call in. She'll give you a reading, I'm assuming?
I don't read. No, I don't read over the radio. There's just not enough time, information, and sometimes it can be too sensitive.
Okay.
And I don't
like to
believe
embarrass
people
people
heading
on the
like
show.
that.
Understandable. If you have a question for Noel.
Yeah,
if you have
I'll
a question,
answer
there you go.
Anything about how it relates to me.
Yeah.
Okay, great. 877 scare you to that number's toll free anywhere in the United States, Canada, or beyond our illegal Mexican borders. Sorry,
Scott.
I'm kidding.
I just glare at you, man. I mean,
I know.
That's all I can do at this point.
It's because you're a liberal. That's okay.
No, I'm not really a liberal,
Are you
but
Republican too?
No, I'm not. I'm an independent.
I prefer to keep my political affiliations anonymous.
He's
as is my right.
communist.
I'm not
He's
a communist
he is.
either. Quiet about that communist. Sovietum. I'm sorry.
He was elected to the U.S. Congress, though, isn't there? Wasn't there this last time around?
I almost
Doesn't
want to
surprise
say
me.
that,
Probably
yeah.
a Democrat.
There was. Now, what was
No, not a Democrat, Scott. Can't be a Democrat and a communist at the same time, diametrically opposed on the political spectrum.
I don't know,
But
man.
anyway.
I don't know.
Now, socialists, I guess, you could lean that way.
Same thing.
My gosh.
Communism, socialism.
1-800-877-SCARE-U2.
No, it's not 1-800-877. It's 877. Scare you too.
I'm sorry.
1-877. Toll free.
I am just dropping the ball.
Doug's looking at me funny. He's laughing. He don't know whether to come over here and hit me or...
One of us probably needs to be struck.
You know, if Doug shaved, he would look like a child. I'm seriously, you would. You would look really, really young if you shaved the beard and mustache off.
I only
You would look
have
like
a
20.
beard and mustache because of next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Then it goes away, and I'll send you photos of me
Oh, okay.
as a child. Yeah.
With the alien.
On each arm.
Oh my
A lot
gosh.
of aliens per day.
So how many of these aliens do you have?
3.
3 aliens.
3 aliens.
Represent some kind of satanic trinity.
Oh my gosh. Their heads are upside down.
They're probably upside down, aren't they? Nailed to the side of your wall. No, I'm kidding.
So do you plan on doing any other kind of readings here? I mean, well, you have to go. John has to leave tomorrow. And
we're keeping him here.
Oh, really? Oh, he doesn't know that yet?
Oh, yeah, he does now.
Oh, right. Now that he realized the tranquilizer in the drink. Uh-oh. Anyway.
You thought that was just coffee you were drinking, didn't you, John?
That coffee relax you?
Yeah.
Nice and pleasant.
Y'all thought that was
relaxing.
a supernatural experience y'all were having over there. No, guys.
Anyway, do you plan on maybe going down to the basement, or have you already been there? I don't know, because I mean it's been so crazy around here with all the running around. Have you been in the basement? Have you been by the lake? I personally wish there was something going on with the lake, but I don't know if that happened or not.
I haven't been by the lake. I have been on all 3 floors of this house. And whatever they want me to do, if they want to take me into some other area and see what I pick up, I'm game for that.
Okay.
But I pretty much read all 3 areas.
Okay.
What's the most?
Yeah, where do you find the most strongest presence?
There you go.
The strongest presence here is that of a spinster female, dating back from the 20s to 30s and in a caretaker mode. And she's watchful and waiting, and is very...
what is she waiting for?
A return. And she protects.
Who is she waiting to return?
I don't know that she's specific about that. She's just waiting. She shows me wringing her hands at times, and she also shows me firmly ensconced here, and that this was her role in life. She chooses to be here, and she hasn't moved out of here.
Have you identified the person? I mean, was it John Harding's wife? Or?
No, this was a spinster, and she was in the role of caretaker here, of running things, and everything was in order and
was this
prioritized.
I wonder if
Harding's lifetime?
I wonder if Harding had a, like a, not a housekeeper. What do they call them?
I was going to say, we call them nannies in the South.
Yeah.
She probably would have encompassed all of this, okay? Yeah. Making sure that things ran on schedule, that things were executed as far as daily household chores, and that everyone did their chore. There was also, for lack of a better description, a charwoman that came in, charwoman that cleaned up and tipped the bottle a little bit and, did her job and left. There's a real curious entity in the basement, and I rarely use entity, but it's an energy, and that's of a short, squat, rotund, bald male.
Are you serious?
That is not really defined as far as his sexuality, kind of asexual. And he's very, very playful.
Like Morrissey.
Morrissey's not rotund.
Asexual. Didn't Morrissey say he was asexual one time?
No.
Am I right on this, guys? Chuck?
No.
Maybe it was. He
it
was Smith from The Cure.
No, Morrissey is he. Anyway.
Sorry.
That's interesting though, in the basement and playful, you say. And what kind of connection does it have with the house? I mean, you say it's an entity in the fact that
right,
you
and I
can't-
think that it can come and go out of the house. I don't think it has a particular attachment to this house. It is because it can. It is
Oh.
because it can
but
be.
it prefers the basement.
And there's
Yeah.
a tremendous sense of, mind you, I don't know the history of this house other than what they told me after I read. There's a great sense of water and moisture down there. Of course, that's available to anyone to see with the drainage pipe there,
Well-
but there was a flooding there and a lot of wet.
Well, yeah, and it's right by a lake too. So I mean, once again,
I'm
the
sorry,
water.
I'm kind of ditzy. I didn't make that
I'm
connection.
sorry, I wasn't laughing at what you said. If I was laughing at watching. I was watching Doug explain something to John. It was funny. He was like, "So this, yeah." It was just funny.
Oh,
If I had a chalkboard.
I was. It's what it's looking like you're doing.
here
You're
we
like,
are. Maybe
you're
a
making all these
laser
hand
pointer.
motions and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, what's it doing over there?
Oh, yes, yes. Anyway, that's very interesting, though. Sort of an asexual entity living in the basement or
Morrissey
present in the basement. I think Morrissey was claiming to be celibate. Not in. Into
If
that
only
sort
more
thing.
of our Roman Catholic priests were.
Oh my gosh! There goes John.
That was a John. That was aimed at him. Yeah. So,
But I find that
877 scare you too. Who have I offended tonight? Well, I don't know. Probably lots of you. Give us a call here.
Everyone.
Let us know. I'm gonna let you take it from there.
Waiting now.
Are we
Yeah,
on
we'll
break?
wait. I think a lot of people have probably tuned out. It's getting pretty
Well,
late.
yeah, that's true. We're not on break.
They left when Doug did. They're like, oh god, that Jay Scott. guy's
Oh,
coming
that
back.
loudmouth
arrogant SOB's coming
dude's coming back. I'll say some crap about some nationality he doesn't even know, like some kind of generic comment about something. I don't know. Chuck, I mean,
back. Are we what?
We
no.
got about 12 more minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Can I grab a mic?
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you.
I'm gonna turn my mic over to Doug.
I
Well-
want to talk to you. Oh, this is comfy. Yes. No. What I wanted to ask was, you go out ghost hunting with a group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about some of the stuff that you do. I mean, why? First of all, why? That's what I'm always interested in.
Well, because I've come through my life knowing that there are other dimensions than those that are in front of us. And in knowing that and being a why person, I want to know why I have it, why I'm able to do this, and what I'm supposed to do with it. And it's fun. It's exciting. It's never been a burden. It's been scary at times, but there's a sense of having to use it. So a paranormal group was a normal association for me, if I could put it to use and define it.
What's your favorite case or entity entity's the wrong word, spirit that you ran into?
Gee, my favorite spirit. I don't know that I have a favorite one because I might take a beating on the other side if I do.
Okay, well, that's right. That is an unfair question. That's like saying,
But my
who do you
grandmother
love
would be
more?
one of my favorites. My grandmother, who's made herself available to me through smells and visions and things like that. And people often ask me if I have spirit guides, and I'm not an intuitive or medium who relies on spirit guides. I simply don't have those, but I do have people that are around me, and I have people I've collected through reads. I did a read on a radiologist instructor at the college I work for, and she was kind of testing me as to what I would get. And she told me her father had a favorite Christmas song, and could I pick up on that? And I told her, yes, give me a day, and I would be able to do that. Well, I wrote the song on a piece of paper in my pocket, and then I asked her, I said, what was the song? And she said, Have a Holly Jolly Christmas. And I took out that paper and handed it to her, and I said, but there was a variation on that, and he would do a jig and sing Have a Holly Jolly Christmas. And
Once again, Burl Ives.
just like that. And I looked up to see the woman in tears, and she was like, you could not have known that. I said, no, I couldn't, but here's another song for you. And I handed her another slip of paper with silver bells on it, and she was like, it means nothing. And she went directly from the front desk and called her brother, younger brother, and he said, oh, yes, it does. He said Mom and Dad would play that to each other at Christmas, but you were gone. You were in college and you were gone. And this was the other song. And her dad stays with me. He's a very happy fellow. He also comes through in reads for her friends.
How about the most unexpected?
The most unexpected was the gentleman in a house in Castalia, North Carolina, that I was taken in on a cold read, and he hung himself for me. I was in the bedroom where he died. I knew that he had swallowed something that was very caustic, and he had disguised it in liquor. He seemed to have a lot of controversy about how he wanted to do away with himself, and I got the gun as it was positioned, the shotgun, in the closet, and then later in the corner of the room. And as I was just standing there a little irritated because he was, toying with me, down drop his feet and sway. And it actually startled me so mad, but it really kind of made me mad too. I was like, don't do that to me. And what really I find amusing is sometimes I bring them home with me, and at the most inopportune times. I deserve to have my private time too. So as I'm crawling into the bathtub, I'm like, nope, not here. This is my alone time. I'm not talking to anyone here. Go away. Take your time up with me elsewhere.
And what do you some of the reasons that I ghost hunt is for I guess I'm a bit of a people person, and I just love talking to people. And so yeah, I go ghost hunting, and in that case you're like probably talking to the air usually, but although hopefully not. But I enjoy also the people that go with me, the companionship, the fun, there's a seriousness when you're actually doing the investigation, but beforehand, and then probably my favorite afterward, the time at the all-night place that starts with D and ends in knees, and that kind of thing. I like the camaraderie, the fun, what do you get out of ghost hunting, the activity with all your friends?
Well, primarily I hope to get answers. I hope to be enlightened a little bit more about what I'm receiving. It's infinitely cool to be able to do this, and I'd be lying to you if I didn't have some sort of pleasure in going into somewhere I know nothing about and being able to nail it and have people say, wow, that's cool, because my reaction is, yeah, it really is cool, and what can you do? If there's an element there, and what are you good at? And then they bring forth what they're good at. And I work with tremendous technical people, forensic photographers, educators, psychologists, techies that can pull out sounds and pictures and evaluate for us. And I'm constantly learning. But just the personalities that are there, you have to have a certain personality to want to pursue the paranormal.
You're describing a crossword puzzle without clues or a grid.
We make our own.
Maybe numbers and up and across.
And there is a camaraderie there, and there is a sense of, wow, we get to do something really neat that a lot of people are embarrassed to say that they're interested in, or they don't want to give too much credence to, for fear of ridicule or how they'll be judged. But you'll be surprised at the people that come forward with their own personal story. There's just too much anecdotal evidence out there to completely disavow what people are experiencing.
Well, we were, just a quick story about that. It's so too cute. I have to share it. We were investigating the Masonic Temple in Detroit, Michigan, because I'm from Michigan, and the janitor, Fix-It, the guy who repairs things, he's one of, just a few people on staff who do that. He came up to the desk when we were checking in, and he goes, oh, are these the ones who are going to go looking for the ghosts? And, yeah, these are them. Oh, I don't believe in any of that. He turns to us and he made sure that we knew he doesn't believe in any of that stuff at all. Well, throughout our investigation, we were there for about 5 hours. He chased us down 3 times to tell us little stories of things that happened. The elevator door just kept opening and closing and opening and closing. So he tried to repair it. It wasn't broke. He called the elevator people and it wasn't broke. It just, that happened. That was one of them. There were a couple of other stories. He chased us down. I mean, this is a huge building with I think it was it was like 17 or so odd floors, and so he wouldn't have known at any given moment where we were, so he had to go looking for us when he'd remember something. 3 times he chased us down.
And people want to share all of this information. There is a lot of camaraderie in the group, and there's a lot of humor. You know, there's humor that doctors and nurses have to get through what they live through, and there's also humor about the paranormal. For example, we were in the Great Barn, which is located in Durham, North Carolina, at Staggville, one of the largest structures post-Civil War, or pre-Civil War, excuse me, and our director was climbing on the beams where an African-American apparition is often seen to walk, and he got a case of vertigo, you know, and he's like, oh my God, what are you going to tell my wife if I fall? You know, I can't fall, I gotta get my feet and everything, and we're like, fall, and come back, give us evidence, you know. If you fall and you don't make it, well, we're right here, and please come back. And it sounds like a cruel humor, but it is a humor, you know, because we know each other so well, and we have to trust each other as well.
There is some pretty sick humor. When we see an ambulance going by, and we do sort of, it's so in bad taste, and we scream, fresh ghost. Yeah. Not good. Not good.
My son, I'm able to receive pregnancies with my daughter-in-laws, and I get them pretty spontaneously, and one daughter-in-law thinks I'm invoking the fertility gods, which is nonsense.
How often
does
this happen?
It's happened 3 times now, but I get a washing over me of warmth, and I got the sex of the baby and everything, and I went to my son. I got it one night, and I went to him the next day, and I said, for lack of a better description, I see that Kelly is pregnant. I see that you're going to have a son. He's like, you saw what? And I said, no, I didn't see that. I see, because he's like, shh, Mom. But I also tease them that be good to me, or I will come back. and I'll know who to target too.
Yeah, my mom says that a lot too, actually.
But she had no inclination. It was actually the night of conception.
Wow. Did you, well, I'll tell you what, I'm expecting a new niece or nephew, I don't know, on December 17th, although they tell us there's a 1% chance of that being the actual date. Yeah. But I've planned it out. That's got to be the date. Because there's just no other time in December for that to happen for me.
Oh, okay.
But it's, but of course, me being just the uncle.
I'm sure they'll try to accommodate.
But yeah. But what can you tell about that, or do you not want to? Do you want to tell me privately?
No, I just have a really bad track record on other people's children. When I'm guessing, when it comes to me unbidden, I have a real good percentage rate.
That's okay.
It's when I'm seeking it out. The sex of the children. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a boy, and I got girl. Look for feminine tendencies.
Well, what happens is I looked at my sister-in-law, and I looked, and I'm like, oh, it's a girl. It's got to be a girl, and because we don't know, like they didn't want to know. They edited the video. I mean, everything. They could call the hospital today and say, okay, we need to know, and the hospital, they signed papers saying, we will not tell you. No matter what. Curious. And so nobody can find out right now. It's going to be a big surprise. But I looked at her and I immediately thought girl. But we ran all those tests. You buy those little booklets, the like checkout style booklets. Is it a boy or girl? And all those tests say boy. So right now we're like, we really are completely have no idea.
Well, my most accuracy is when I get what I call a knowing, where something just comes to me unbidden and washes over me. Seeking out information is a little different game and a little more difficult.
Do we have less than a minute left?
Yeah, we actually have less than a minute left.
30 seconds.
I'm sorry, I just wanted you guys to go on, but I mean, shoot, 3 hours.
This was
I don't know how you do it, Doug. I mean, wow, it's crazy, but I mean, it's kind of exciting too. Now we got Noel, and I want to go on for maybe another hour, and I don't know, but I can't. So
I agree. This has been an absolutely fantastic thing.
I agree.
World of the Unexplained and Ghostly Talk together in North Carolina.
Twin Lakes Lodge.
At the Twin Lakes Lodge. TheTwinLakesLodge.com.
That's right.
It'll be linked up, of course, at ghostlytalk.com and at your website, worldoftheunexplained.com.
Thanks again to Anita, who put us up this weekend, and it's been a fantastic extravaganza. My thanks again to John Zaffis, came down here. Noel, of course.
you.
Thank you. Al, wherever he is, he's shooting
He's
photographs.
still investigating.
He's still
He's
investigating.
out.
Actually,
Yeah.
I want to hit the trail myself, and get out there. But thanks again, guys, for listening. This is the end of part 2. Scott, who knows where he is? It's just, we got to get on this, man. Until next time, I'm Jay Scott, the only JD DJ on the Planet Paranormal Network.
Great impression.
And this is Trent Lackey. We're coming to you from Greensboro, North Carolina.
And this is Doug of Ghostly Talk, along with World of the Unexplained.
Fantastic. We'll see you next time. Catch all the information. We'll have all of our data up on the website pretty soon on Ghostly Talk and on World of the Unexplained. It's been a pleasure. Hope we can do this again real soon, some other time. But for now,
Hopefully in Michigan.
That's true. Road trip.
Round of applause. Good job, 3
Yes.
hours.
Hooray!
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, take care, and we'll see you actually this Monday on World of the Unexplained. I don't have a computer with me, so Michael Horn.
That sounds right.
Okay. Well, anyway, check us out Monday, 8 o'clock. Be there, be square.